Chapter 1181 Sudden Changes, Benefits are Key. 5 Elements Grandmaster. 88 True Yang Building is a forewarning, while Baizu tribe's creation is an obvious sign. Next, the influence of the Huang Jin tribes will start to fade away. Because this is the trend of humanity in northern plains. You say that I was affected by heaven's will, that is not so. I was rushed here by the tide of humanity. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's reputation can no longer intimidate me, he has been dead for too long. Next, more GU immortals will be discontent with the Huang Jin tribes, and covet your wealth. Northern Plains is full of battles. Northern Plains GU immortals have bravery and fighting spirit. Suppression would only be met with even more resolute and crazed resistance. I am just the first person to come to longevity heaven. Next, more and more will come here. Are you prepared for it? There was silence. The 8 extremities were so angry they were trembling, having cold expressions. Heaven Extremity had a stiff expression. He smiled forcefully. Amazing rank 8 GU immortal, amazing 5 elements grandmaster. You want to convince us that instead of being wiped out by this trend, we should merge and ride the wave, imitating Gong tribe to take in more lone immortals and demonic cultivators to recruit a rank 8 GU immortal like you. We do not have a deep feud, we can cooperate. 5 elements grandmaster said solemnly. Even though the 4 desolation immortals are rank 8, they have little lifespan, they cannot move around freely. I have no such problems. Heaven Extremity laughed maniacally. Ha ha ha. You are looking down on the foundation of the Huang Jin tribes. Or rather, you are looking down on ancestor Giant Sun. If not for you, as 8 extremities would have gone to rebuild 88 True Yang Building already. And that Baizu tribe is merely a short-lived flicker. Such impure bloodline and he wants to be in the righteous path. Heavenly Lord Baizu, is he worthy? The righteous path of northern plains are the Huang Jin tribes. Lu tribe's base camp. Zhan by blessed land. Ah, the longevity edict. Lu tribe's first supreme elder was extremely shocked. He quickly knelt down and received it. Lu tribe was one of the super forces, a Huang Jin tribe, the descendants of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. Meanwhile, longevity heaven was the rank 9 grotto heaven of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. Among the Huang Jin tribes, it represented supreme authority. Lu tribe's first supreme elder received the longevity edict. The longevity edict was golden in color. It resembled a token, but it was in essence an information path immortal GU. He felt a sensation and understood the information in the longevity edict. Lu tribe's first supreme elder frowned. Longevity heaven has orders for his Huang Jin tribes to work together and deal with Baizu tribe. This order caught him off guard. Heavenly Lord Baizu was fighting with Chudu. The entirety of Lu tribe's GU immortals were happy to see this. Baizu tribe took over He tribe, their forces bordered Lu tribe. Because Baizu tribe had a rank 8 GU immortal, Lu tribe had a very vigilant attitude, while feeling deep wariness. And Chudu had a feud with Lu tribe. His reputation as domination immortal was mostly due to Lu tribe to begin with. The contest between these two, in Lu tribe's opinion, was one foe fighting another. Lu tribe was watching on the fence, wanting to see them both suffer losses. Chudu was in trouble. Lu tribe felt good seeing it. Heavenly Lord Baizu had taken revenge for them. Heavenly Lord Baizu's suffering losses would cause Baizu tribe's reputation to fall in the future. It was a great thing for Lu tribe. Nobody would want a fierce tiger to live around them. A weak neighbor was better than a strong one. But now that the longevity edict is out, we have to follow it. My Lu tribe is close to He tribe's former territory. Once this battle starts, we will face pressure many times that of the other tribes. Lu tribe's first supreme elder left his information on longevity edict, on the immortal GU, before letting it go, as the longevity edict tore through the sky. Next, this immortal GU would continue to visit the other Huang Jin tribes. Back to the present time. Inside He Fan Grotto Heaven. Chudu and Fang Yuan, who received this information, were surprised and overjoyed. All of the righteous path super forces, the Huang Jin tribes are attacking Baizu tribe. This way, Heavenly Lord Baizu is bound to retreat. Fang Yuan spoke with a smile. The Huang Jin tribes that have never gotten along are acting in unison at such speed. I wonder what happened. Chudu was confused. Fang Yuan's eyes shined. Perhaps longevity heaven sent an edict. Longevity heaven. Chudu's expression changed. He thought for a while. It seems that is the only reason. In fact, the situation of the forces in Northern Plains GU Immortal World was quite similar to Central Continent. Central Continent had 10 great ancient sects, Northern Plains had the Huang Jin bloodline super forces, Central Continent had the heavenly court ruling above, while Northern Plains had longevity heaven that stood in the sky. More similarly, the 10 great ancient sects were the lower-level sects of Heavenly Court, while Longevity Heaven similarly had great influence on the Northern Plains Huang Jin tribes. Perhaps in the past, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had imitated Central Continent, purposely creating this situation. Why did Longevity Heaven suddenly send an edict, ordering the Huang Jin tribes to work together and deal with Baizu tribe? Baizu tribe is backed by a rank 8 GU Immortal. Chu Du thought, feeling doubts. What made him unable to comprehend it was, if Longevity Heaven wanted to deal with Baizu tribe, the best time to strike was when He tribe had just been destroyed. But at that time, Longevity Heaven did not act. So why did they wait until now? Was Longevity Heaven also interested in Heifan Grotto Heaven? Thinking of this possibility, Chu Du's heart sank. No matter what, we need to make use of the remaining time and talk to Heavenly Lord Baizu, ending this conflict. Immortal GU, no, and care, were prepared for this moment. Fang Yuan reminded. Chu Du came back to his senses. He said solemnly, "You are right." He immediately sent his clone to converse with Heavenly Lord Baizu. Right now, Chu Du was the owner of Heifan Grotto Heaven. He had made many arrangements here. The GU worms that he sent out were not detected by others. Heavenly Lord Baizu had more information than Chu Du. He knew that right forces, the righteous path forces, were coming at Baizu tribe because Longevity Heaven had directly sent a longevity edict. He was very shocked. He did not know why Longevity Heaven was suddenly finding trouble with him. In the past, when creating the tribe, Heavenly Lord Baizu was worried about Longevity Heaven. He was waiting for a response from them. Longevity Heaven's silence made Heavenly Lord Baizu feel like he had probed its bottom line. He thought, as a Grand Rank 8, Longevity Heaven might not want to deal with him. After all, there was no good reason for it. The commotion and change in Northern Plains GU Immortal World made Heavenly Lord Baizu very perplexed. Yao Huang and Prince Feng Xian are Righteous Path GU Immortals. Prince Feng Xian might not come, but Yao Huang is a true Huang Jin bloodline member. Other than that, there is still Longevity Heaven. 5 Elements Grand Master has a good understanding of Longevity Heaven. I might be able to get some information from him. Heavenly Lord Baizu thought quickly. The situation was turning for the worse rapidly. He felt immense pressure on him. He was still unaware that 5 Elements Grand Master was already fighting with Longevity Heaven. In fact, the current situation was caused by the conversation between 5 Elements Grand Master and Heaven Extremity. As for Heifan Grotto Heaven, Heavenly Lord Baizu's gaze became dark. He assessed, I cannot take it down for now. I should stop. I cannot waste any time and energy now. I need to put all my effort into defending my hard work. Heavenly Lord Baizu wanted to retreat. The reason why he wanted to take down Heifan Grotto Heaven was due to the loss of his reputation. It might cause a commotion and result in severe losses to Baizu tribe's interests. But now, Baizu tribe was in a crisis. Heavenly Lord Baizu's own interests were severely infringed now. This situation was truly the worst. How could Heavenly Lord Baizu have any effort to spare for Heifan Grotto Heaven? But in this situation, Chu Du's GU worm arrived in Heavenly Lord Baizu's hands. Oh, as expected of the Domination Immortal, after understanding Chu Du's intention, Heavenly Lord Baizu's gaze became dark and eerie. The contest for Heifan Grotto Heaven ended at once. What made the Northern Plains GU Immortal World shocked was, Chu Du not only came to a resolution with Heavenly Lord Baizu, he even gave up a portion of Heifan Grotto Heaven and created an alliance with Heavenly Lord Baizu. After achieving the alliance agreement, Chu Du let Heavenly Lord Baizu's main body into Heifan Grotto Heaven. Using Heavenly Lord Baizu's deterrence, he went on to deal with those demonic path and lone immortals that he had invited earlier. These GU immortals were facing Heavenly Lord Baizu's main body. How could they dare to resist? They could only lower their heads to Domination Immortal. Chu Du successfully resisted Heavenly Lord Baizu. Using the power of Heavenly Lord Baizu, he forcefully subdued many lone immortals, gathering everyone and creating Chu Sect on that very day. Chu Sect, using Chu Du's words in his speech. This was the first GU Immortal sect in Northern Plains GU Immortal World. It had extraordinary meaning. Fang Yuan watched coldly from the side. Even though Langya sect was the actual first sect in Northern Plains, Fang Yuan could not help but gasp in admiration towards Chu Du's incredible performance. Chu Du had truly outdone himself. He gave up a portion of Heifan Grotto Heaven, but he managed to obtain a rank 8 reinforcement, Heavenly Lord Baizu. Heavenly Lord Baizu was also a deep schemer. Northern Plains' situation gave him huge pressure. He had to find external allies. And Chu Du could guess his mentality, thus he created Chu Sect. It was far easier than for Heavenly Lord Baizu when he created Baizu tribe. Chu-du was not all alone. These last years, he had nurtured many strength path GU Immortals. And with Heifan Grotto Heaven, he had a huge basis for development. Meanwhile, Heavenly Lord Baizu needed Heifan Grotto Heaven as a backup plan for the entirety of Baizu tribe. Thus, the two sides turned from enemies to allies. Cho Lao Wu and Hao Zhen, who accidentally killed Baizu Wei, were just punished mildly before they were spared. Heavenly Lord Baizu could no longer bother with these two insignificant figures at this point. Thus, Hao Zhen and Cho Lao Wu felt immense gratitude towards Domination Immortal. They became the two most loyal people in Chu sect. Northern Plains GU Immortal world had changed too rapidly. Heavenly Lord Baizu, who was at the peak of his life earlier, having created his own tribe, was now facing the attack of all the Huangjin tribes. Chu-du and Heavenly Lord Baizu, who were fighting to the death earlier, were now allies. Ordinary GU Immortals might be dazzled by these turns of events, but for people like Fang Yuan, it was very clear. No matter what commotion or changes there were, the key concern throughout was still benefits. It had never changed. Chapter 1182, Leaving Heifan Grotto Heaven. Inside a GU formation, Fang Yuan sat quietly on the ground. Chu-du, as well as the wills of Pang Shan and Not Immortal, were in front of the formation. Start, Chu-du said plainly. The wills of Not Immortal and Pang Shan formed into human shapes, nodding as they activated their Immortal GU. One Rule Path Immortal GU, no. The other was also a Rule Path Immortal GU, top 10 in the list of mystical GU, care. Red Date Immortal Essence was rapidly expended. The two Immortal GU were shining in their own profound lights. The two profound lights had different colors, one was black and empty, the other was red and warm like fire. The black and red lights entered the GU formation. Chu-du took action at an appropriate timing, activating this GU formation, to fuse the power of Immortal GU No and Immortal GU Care into it. The two profound lights fused under the guidance of the GU formation, creating a half-black and half-red spiraling pillar of light. The light pillar completely covered Fang Yuan's body, without any leaks. A moment later, the light pillar stabilized. It was no longer as distorted as before. It is ready, Chu-du reminded. Fang Yuan thus said. You will not be able to imagine what is hidden under the northern icy plain. I almost died there. He spoke quickly, detailing what happened when he was undergoing tribulation in the northern icy plain, and the terrifying human calamity that he had faced. The secret of the Snowman and Rockman tribes in the northern icy plain was revealed to Chu-du. To think that there is such a situation. The empty northern icy plain actually has such a powerful variant human force. They have been hidden all along. Chu-du was extremely shocked. The wills of Not Immortal and Pang Shan also shook, showing their stirred emotions. A moment later, the black and red lights faded, the GU formation stopped its operation. Fang Yuan slowly stood up, getting out of the GU formation. He was safe. Originally, he was a member of the Four Race Alliance, and a guest elder of Langya sect. He was not able to expose the secrets of the Snowmen and Rockmen to outsiders. But because of the Immortal GU No and Care, along with Chu-du's cooperation, Fang Yuan was able to breach his alliance agreements without facing any harm. These two Immortal GU were meant to be used by Chu-du. Chu-du's intention was to come to a consensus with Heavenly Lord Baizu. After defending strongly and refusing to relent in battle, they would eventually settle at an agreement, defending Heifan Grotto Heaven. Chu-du had long since planned that if there was no choice, he would secretly sacrifice Hao Zhen and Cho Lao Wu, to protect Heavenly Lord Baizu's reputation and express his sincerity. But the actual situation was far better than he had expected. Perhaps the alliance of all the righteous path forces in attacking Baizu tribe had made Heavenly Lord Baizu feel strong external pressure. Because of that, Heavenly Lord Baizu did not list any requirements of executing the murderers, he only gave them a light punishment on the surface. It is to the credit of these two Immortal GU, otherwise, I would have no way to explain this situation to you. Fang Yuan pretended to be relieved. He sighed deeply to himself. Of course, he had withheld some information from Chu-du. For example, Fang Yuan did not expose Langya Blessed Land. Fang Yuan was a vigilant person. He was not going to tell Chu-du everything. He was used to keeping trump cards at hand. Chu-du said in a heavy tone, by the looks of it, we cannot continue to undergo tribulation in the northern icy plain. Indeed. Fang Yuan nodded. He started to avoid mentioning things related to the Four Races Alliance. Because the two Immortal GU No and Care had stopped activating, if Fang Yuan breached the alliance agreements again, he would face intense backlash. He would either be severely injured or dead. The two Immortal GU, No and Care, had incredible abilities, but they had to be activated constantly. Because they had to be used together to allow the GU Immortal to breach alliance agreements without suffering any damage. But they could not remove the restrictions of Fang Yuan's alliance agreements completely. This was a method that resolved the situation but did not solve the underlying problem. Regarding this, what are your opinions? Fang Yuan asked directly. The wills of Not Immortal and Pang Shan looked at each other. The former shook his head. Crazed Demon Cave contains the secret of eternal life, our main bodies would not leave it. As long as humanity is not extinct, we will not come out. The variant humans can develop all they want, even if they become many times stronger, they are not the match of humans. The latter said, if we are to deal with the variant humans, it is easy. We just need to announce this information, and the entire Northern Plains GU Immortal world will go after them. No, that way, the Northern Icy Plain will get destroyed. If a huge battle occurs, the Icy Plain will not remain. And we would not be able to get anything from it, we might even get exposed and implicate Brother Liu. Chu Du shook his head. I'm just saying, Pang Shan's will grumbled. Indeed, if the variant human force underneath the Icy Plain was exposed, a huge battle would occur. By then, Fang Yuan would be trapped in the middle, he would not have an easy time. Fang Yuan listened to their words, the worry inside him dissipated by a lot. Fang Yuan had to tell Chu Du about the situation in the Northern Icy Plain, because they had set an alliance agreement. There would be many opportunities to cooperate in the future. If Fang Yuan concealed it, he would be greatly restricted. Chu Du did not attack the variant human force in the Icy Plain, that was within Fang Yuan's estimations. After all, right now, Chu Du's focus was no longer on tribulations and reckless savages' true meaning, it was how to control the situation and cooperate with Heavenly Lord Baizu to resist the attacks of the Righteous Path super forces. And the wills of Not Immortal and Pang Shan also made Fang Yuan realize the mindset of the three crazed demon eccentrics. It seems that these three are bent on researching Crazed Demon Cave. The commotion in the outside world cannot lure them out. Fang Yuan thought about it, he could understand the three crazed demon eccentrics. If he did not have so much trouble, he would also do the same thing as them. Unfortunately, Fang Yuan was in a lot of danger, not just Shadow Sect, but also the pursuit of Heavenly Court and other various aspects. However, if they know my true identity, how would they react? Fang Yuan looked at the three, his thoughts were drifting. After talking for a while, Chu Du kept the two immortal GU and the wills of Not Immortal and Pang Shan in his own immortal aperture. Next, he and Fang Yuan left this underground camp together. After leaving the cave, they got back to the surface of Heifan Grotto Heaven. Heifan Grotto Heaven was currently developing. Large numbers of variant humans, rockmen, feathermen, and minimen were laboriously working. Many GU immortals would often raise variant human slaves. Right now, Chu Sect had allied with Baizu tribe, these variant humans were slaves that came from Chu Sect and Baizu tribe. Greetings to First Supreme Elder and Second Supreme Elder. Hao Zhen saw Fang Yuan and Chu Du, quickly taking the initiative to greet them. Chu Du took the opportunity to create Chu Sect, he even roped in Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan was originally unwilling, but Chu Du gave him special treatment. Fang Yuan's alliance agreement for Chu Sect was very loose, it was not restrictive. And because Fang Yuan intended to continue working with Chu Du, this allowed them to have another layer of relationship. Chu Du asked about the development status of Heifan Grotto Heaven, Hao Zhen answered that they were all at the initial stage, but the different GU immortals had taken out their resources and relocated them here. There was a crucial point, Fang Yuan had also put in a lot of effort, contributing a lot of resources. These resources were originally from Heifan Grotto Heaven. After going through many places, they were back at their original spots. Even Fang Yuan did not expect that. Why did he contribute this huge amount of resources? Firstly, using the two immortal GU know and care was not free, Fang Yuan had discussed with Chu Du, using this as the compensation. Secondly, Fang Yuan sold some resources to Heavenly Lord Baizu. Inside Heifan Grotto Heaven, a large portion was Chu Sect's territory, but a small portion belonged to Baizu tribe now. The entirety of Heifan Grotto Heaven became the symbol of alliance between Chu Sect and Baizu tribe. Fang Yuan and Chu Du said goodbye to Hao Zhen. After flying for a while, Fang Yuan said to Chu Du, "Alright, you don't have to send me off." Chu Du had a worried look. Didn't you just obtain Heifan's true inheritance? In my opinion, delaying the calamities and tribulations by slowing your immortal aperture's rate of time is most stable. After all, you have just undergone so many battles, if you undergo tribulation after going back, there is a huge risk. Fang Yuan smiled. How can there be gains without risks? Furthermore, you are around, if I encounter any sudden danger, I will seek help from you. Chu-do had an apologetic expression. It is a pity that Chu sect was just created, we have strong enemies against us, there is unrest now, otherwise, I would go with you. Have you chosen the tribulation location? Not yet, I need to think about it. Fang Yuan shook his head. Chu-do opened the grotto heaven's entrance. See you. Fang Yuan stepped out of the grotto heaven, flying away without looking back. Chu-do shut the door again, sighing internally. Fang Yuan was not easy to control, he was very decisive. And Chu-do still had desire towards the immortal tribulation tempering aperture method, but the current situation was very complex. Fang Yuan's battle strength and his status with the variant humans made Chu-do see a lot of value in him. Fang Yuan wanted to deepen his cooperation with Chu-do, wasn't Chu-do also thinking the same? As Fang Yuan left Heifan Grotto Heaven, in southern border, Bai Ningbing arrived at Jade Pot Mountain. Why did you bring me here? Bai Ningbing asked directly. He Lu Lan and the others were wondering too. Ying Wuxie, who was leading the way, stopped walking, he turned around and smiled. Bai Ningbing, you are too weak. This Jade Pot Mountain has our shadow sex arrangements, it has already formed an immortal GU. We will take it out and increase your battle strength, so that you can deal with the bet of the 5 Shangs. Bet of the 5 Shangs? What is that? Bai Ningbing frowned. Ying Wuxie laughed loudly. It is too early to tell you now. Bai Ningbing frowned even more deeply now, snorting coldly. The part about you I hate the most is that air of mystery that you use. Insolence. Shi Nu stared angrily at Bai Ningbing. He was very unhappy about Bai Ningbing's arrogant attitude towards Ying Wuxie. No matter, it's no bother. Ying Wuxie laughed. He did not mind Bai Ningbing's attitude at all. Chapter 1183. Entering a new blessed land. Fang Yuan successfully returned to Langya blessed land. At this moment, his divine sense was in the sovereign immortal aperture. I have inspected it 18 times, there should be no problems. But even if any problems occur, the newly hatched upper extreme heavenly eagle is only at the power of a desolate beast, even if it rebels, there is no danger. Fang Yuan thought in his mind. He was inside mini purple heaven in the sovereign immortal aperture. An ordinary eagle nest was floating in the sky. Inside the nest, other than an upper extreme heavenly eagle egg, there was nothing else. Within the surrounding 100 li, Fang Yuan had placed many strength path immortal zombies, desolate beasts, and even the walking meat tree here temporarily to ensure there were no accidents. He hatched the upper extreme heavenly eagle once again. Fang Yuan began to move. A large amount of fresh blood was taken out by the strength path immortal zombies, before activating GU worms and fusing the fresh blood perfectly into the upper extreme heavenly eagle's egg. Fang Yuan had done this once before. But back then, Fang Yuan used He Cheng's blood. This time, Fang Yuan was amply prepared. Not only did he change the upper extreme heavenly eagle's memories, he even did some changes to He Fan's arrangements left on the upper extreme heavenly eagle. This way, Fang Yuan could use his own blood to hatch the upper extreme heavenly eagle. It was not like before, using familiar face to conceal himself and become close with the upper extreme heavenly eagle, obtaining the acknowledgement of this immemorial desolate beast. He went step by step, smoothly progressing, there were no unexpected mishaps. 8 days and nights later in the immortal aperture, the upper extreme heavenly eagle hatched again, as the baby upper extreme heavenly eagle emerged. Chirp, chirp, the upper extreme heavenly eagle saw Fang Yuan, and immediately jumped at him affectionately. This, Fang Yuan, was not Fang Yuan's real body, it was a strength path immortal zombie, using familiar face to turn into Fang Yuan's appearance. Even though it had just hatched, it was not small. When it raised its head, it had the height of a youngster. The young eagle treated Fang Yuan as its parent, it surrounded him and flapped its wings, chirping and jumping around, extremely happy. All right, Fang Yuan smiled warmly, stretching out his hand and stroking the upper extreme heavenly eagle's head. The upper extreme heavenly eagle obediently stayed still, its chirping became softer and more intimate. Come, eat. Fang Yuan took out a thick and long heavenly crystal. The heavenly crystal was white and gold, in a translucent state. Placing it in front of the young eagle, all of its attention was drawn to it. Its dark eagle eyes shined with bright light. It began to peck the heavenly crystal. As it broke apart like tofu, the young eagle ate it and swallowed the crystal very quickly. The young eagle trusted Fang Yuan deeply, it did not hesitate in consuming the heavenly crystal in Fang Yuan's hands. After eating 6 heavenly crystals, it stopped in satisfaction. Its tummy was bloated, the young eagle had become plump, it sat on the ground and chirped, slapping its tummy with its wings continuously, it was very cute and lovable. Full. Fang Yuan smiled warmly, sitting down while leaning on the eagle. The eagle felt a strong sense of safety, it let down its guard, shutting its eyes as its head lowered, lying on Fang Yuan's lap as it fell asleep. Fang Yuan stretched out his hand, stroking the young eagle's feathers. Its newly born feathers were yellow and soft, together with its body warmth, it was very comfortable to touch. In the following days, Fang Yuan manipulated the strength path immortal zombie as he stayed by the upper extreme heavenly eagle's side. Other than deepening their relationship, he was also keeping a close eye on it, in case of accidents. I have enough heavenly crystal eagle nests. Fang Yuan's divine sense left the eagle nest. Taking a look, in the surrounding hundreds of li, there were many eagle nests. There were nearly 100 eagle nests. Fang Yuan had taken them from Iron Eagle Blessed Land. Fang Yuan chose the largest eagle nest as the temporary home for the upper extreme heavenly eagle. The original heavenly crystal eagle nest had already been completely eaten by the previous upper extreme heavenly eagle, nothing was left. But now, even though the heavenly crystals in the nests could not nurture the upper extreme heavenly eagle, there was still a pile of them, taller than an adult. Among these heavenly crystals, a small portion came from Langya Land Spirit. Fang Yuan had exchanged for them from Langya Land Spirit using sect contribution points. The bulk of them were obtained from Heavenly Lord Baizu. After Chudu and Heavenly Lord Baizu allied, Fang Yuan had transacted with Heavenly Lord Baizu through Chudu. Heavenly Lord Baizu was a rank 8 GU immortal, he had a grotto heaven, he had a huge stock of heavenly crystals. In order to get this transaction, while revealing the secrets of the variant human in the northern icy plain to Chudu, Fang Yuan also told him about the upper extreme heavenly eagle. Actually, this was already no secret. Chudu might have known, while Heavenly Lord Baizu definitely knew, because he had taken in the Supreme Elders of He tribe as his subordinates. Heavenly Lord Baizu desired the upper extreme heavenly eagle greatly, but currently, he needed Chudu as an ally. And Chudu wanted to deepen his cooperation with Fang Yuan. Because of all these reasons, Fang Yuan easily succeeded in getting this transaction. Fang Yuan paid a lot of resources. But these resources were originally from Heifan Grotto Heaven anyway. To purchase these heavenly crystals, Fang Yuan sold them all without hesitation. Be it Chu sect or Baizu tribe, they needed these resources greatly. Because of their battle, both sides had expended a lot of their foundation, they needed replenishment. And the even better thing was, these resources were originally produced in Heifan Grotto Heaven, they suited the environment and did not need to adapt. After successfully hatching the upper extreme heavenly eagle, Fang Yuan settled down and observed it for some more days. After he confirmed that the upper extreme heavenly eagle had no issues, Fang Yuan immediately left, using Langya sect's teleportation GU formation to get to Taichu. The sixth earthly calamity was about to arrive, there was little time. Why was Fang Yuan going to Taichu? He could not undergo tribulation in Taichu. Because it was too dangerous. Ancient desolate beasts and ancient desolate plants lacked intelligence, they were easily influenced by heaven's will, and would form into a giant beast tide. Fang Yuan followed a route and moved. He used familiar face, constantly changing his appearance, disguising himself as ancient desolate beasts or desolate beasts to travel, moving in Taichu. Fang Yuan did not dare to go to the center of Taichu, it was extremely dangerous, there were many wild immortal GU there and even immemorial desolate beasts. Thankfully, his destination was not at the center of Taichu, it was at the fringe. 3 days later, he successfully reached his destination. The ground in front of him was uneven, even though there was a lot of giant grass, it could not conceal the traces of battle here. Some mangled corpses were scattered here. Fang Yuan's gaze swept through the surroundings, he did not discover any danger, he let out a breath of air and relaxed. In the previous earthly calamity, I gained a lot of dark path Dao marks. This time, I used dark limit to hide from heaven's will, the effect is many times better. Thus, I am still safe. Then next as, Fang Yuan mobilized his GU worms, inspecting the surroundings. He was very careful, he searched meticulously. There was a rank 7 immortal GU in his immortal aperture, Fang Yuan had specially borrowed it from Heavenly Lord Baizu. Lending immortal GU was also part of Fang Yuan and Heavenly Lord Baizu's deal. Other than this, there was an immortal killer move. With this rank 7 immortal GU as the core, Fang Yuan used the immortal killer move. Not long after, he had a discovery. Good, I recalled correctly. It is here. The immortal killer move allowed Fang Yuan to discover a blessed land. It was hidden in empty space, concealed here in the air. Good eagle, it is up to you now. Next, Fang Yuan opened the immortal aperture, letting out the upper extreme heavenly eagle. The upper extreme heavenly eagle had grown multiple times in size after these days, but it was still young, it had shiny feathers and sharp eagle eyes, it was quite strong and vigorous looking. It flew in the sky, carrying Fang Yuan on its back as they flew multiple times in a circle. Under Fang Yuan's guidance, it sensed something and changed directions, aiming towards the ground and about to crash. When it was 3 meters from the ground, the upper extreme heavenly eagle suddenly went through an entrance, as it vanished from Tai Chu along with Fang Yuan. At the next moment, Fang Yuan arrived at a completely new blessed land. Chapter 1184. Annexing Handong Blessed Land. This blessed land was very unique. The entire terrain was a shallow beach. Jade green water that was less than 3 meters deep, large numbers of rocks piled on the beach, like ink on a casually drawn canvas, they resembled strokes and lines that weaved together. There were many pools of green water, some formed lakes, some formed tiny seas, it was distributed like a pieces of a chessboard. This is quite similar to Dongfang tribe's Jade Pool Blessed Land. Fang Yuan thought to himself. But he was aware that this place was different from Jade Pool Blessed Land at its core. Jade Pool Blessed Land was filled with many deep pools, there were tens of thousands of them, resembling the stars in the sky, forming a beautiful sight. And inside the jade pools, the water was different and bred countless aquatic species. But the water here was connected to the same source. Because there were crevices between the rocks that formed the terrain of the beach. Fang Yuan looked, there were large numbers of fish and prawns, all sorts of aquatic insects and mortal GU. Under the beach, in the crevices, there were seashells, mussels, seaweed, and others. But what was most abundant was a type of snake. This snake was pinkish-red in color, it was small and delicate, about the size of an adult's thumb, smaller ones were only a few centimeters. This was a spirit snake. GU Immortal Handong specialized the most in this transformation. This was Handong's blessed land. Handong was one of the traveling 3 elites. Back then when Dongfang Chongfan possessed Dongfang Yuliang and tried to revive, he had used the immemorial ruin bat corpse to create a temporary base. By the time Fang Yuan and the rest got there, GU Immortal Handong from the traveling 3 elites had already died here. The traveling 3 elites were Lu Qingming, Su Guang and Handong. They were lone cultivators, rather famous ones. When the 3 worked together, they could use an immortal killer move that gathered light, forming a chariot that could travel quickly. In the GU Immortal world, when some GU Immortals develop close relationships, they would help each other and cultivate together. As time passes, when they become more familiar, if they were talented, they would comprehend and create new joint immortal killer moves. The traveling 3 elites were like this, the wind thunder roar of Chou Lao Wu and Hao Zhen was similar. Among the 3 of them, Lu Qingming was a wind path GU Immortal, his signature move was entangled wind, it was very powerful and maneuverable. Su Guang was a light path GU Immortal, while Handong cultivated transformation path. He was a transformation path rank 6 GU Immortal, this Handong blessed land was a rank 6 blessed land. Fang Yuan floated in the sky, at this time, a pinkish-red spirit snake slithered over towards Fang Yuan. Hiss hiss hiss. The spirit snake was translucent without scales, its flesh was pinkish, it did not have bones, just one red line held its body from head to tail together. It hissed at Fang Yuan, showing animosity in its tone. This was different from the other snakes. Fang Yuan could understand it, as the hissing turned into words in his ears. Who are you? Why did you invade my home? Quickly leave, you are not welcomed here. Fang Yuan smiled lightly. I came here because I want to be your master, what are the conditions for that? Hiss hiss hiss. The pinkish-red spirit snake hissed unhappily. Fang Yuan nodded, feeling overjoyed, he thought to himself, so Handong's obsession before death has to do with Lu Qingming and Su Guang. It turned out that Handong blessed land's condition was very simple yet strict. The spirit snake in front of Fang Yuan was the blessed land's land spirit, created after Handong's death, fusing his obsession with heavenly power. This land spirit would only acknowledge Lu Qingming or Su Guang. When either of them arrived, this blessed land would belong to them. From this point, the traveling 3 elites truly had a close relationship. Handong's obsession before dying was to leave all of his assets to his 2 good friends. In that case, I will bring Lu Qingming here. We are good friends. Fang Yuan spouted nonsense. Hiss hiss hiss. Spirit snake asked, is that true? You can find Lu Qingming. That is wonderful. In fact, he is nearby. Because your main body died here, Lu Qingming and Su Guang have been thinking about it. But Tai Chu is too dangerous, thus, they asked me for help, and we finally found you after so long. Fang Yuan started his chain of lies, he neither was flustered nor did his heart beat faster. The spirit snake slithered around, moving its body. It was very excited. Next, it made an agreement with Fang Yuan. In just a few minutes, Lu Qingming would arrive. Thank you, truly, you are a good person. The spirit snake's attitude changed. It was very welcoming as it opened the entrance, sending Fang Yuan out. You must find Lu Qingming. Seeing Fang Yuan off, the spirit snake closed the entrance longingly. Fang Yuan flew in a circuit outside, storing away the upper extreme heavenly eagle and using familiar face to become Lu Qingming. He came back and waited for a while, before the blessed land's entrance opened. Lord Lu Qingming sob sob sob. The spirit snake was at the entrance. Seeing Lu Qingming, it started to sob uncontrollably. Fang Yuan consoled it as the spirit snake's mood lifted. The spirit snake asked, Lord Lu Qingming, where is your friend from earlier? He is a nice person, he actually brought you here. He is a kind and helpful person, he is very dependable. He has already left, he said that there is no point in staying here, he has already done his part. Fang Yuan continued with his fairy tales. The pitiful land spirit could not see through familiar face, it thought he was speaking the truth, immediately acknowledging Lu Qingming as its master. Hiss hiss hiss. The spirit snake coiled around Fang Yuan's shoulder. From now on, you are the owner of this blessed land. Fang Yuan immediately changed his tone. Wonderful, I've thought about it, I will give this blessed land to that friend of mine from earlier. Hiss. The spirit snake was stunned. Fang Yuan smiled lightly. Since I am the owner of this place, I have the authority for that, right? Hiss hiss. The pinkish-red spirit snake lowered its head. It was upset but it still responded, acknowledging Fang Yuan's words. Fang Yuan immediately left. In a moment, he got rid of familiar face and returned in his original appearance. Very successfully, the spirit snake acknowledged him as master. Hiss hiss hiss. The spirit snake said, from today onwards, you are the owner of this blessed land. Sigh, even though I am sad, this is Lord Lu Qingming's wish. Next, there were even more saddening words coming out of Fang Yuan's mouth. Since you acknowledge me as your master, work with me, assimilate this blessed land into my own blessed land. Hiss, 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 hiss hiss. The spirit snake was completely stunned, before becoming frantic. What? Why must we do that? If we do that, I will disappear. Of course I know that. But by fusing into my blessed land, I can skip multiple calamities and tribulations, it is helpful to me. Fang Yuan continued. The pinkish-red spirit snake thought of something and cried out, to annex my blessed land, you need to be at least a transformation path master. I primarily cultivate transformation path, I am a grand master. Fang Yuan replied mockingly. The spirit snake lost all its vigor, its head was lowered to the ground. Fine, you are the owner of the blessed land, you can do whatever you want, I will cooperate. Immortal apertures could annex one another. There were many restrictions and requirements in this. Firstly, a smaller immortal aperture could not engulf a bigger one. Secondly, dead apertures could not devour others. Finally, annexing immortal apertures required specific attainment levels. To annex a rank 6 blessed land, one needed to have master attainment level in that path. For rank 7 blessed lands, one needed Grand Master attainment level, and for rank 8 grotto heavens, one needed Great Grand Master attainment level. Once these requirements were met, another person's immortal aperture could be devoured and become part of one's own immortal aperture. There were many benefits in this. Firstly, the resources inside the annexed immortal aperture would be completely transferred into the other immortal aperture without any need for relocation. Secondly, one would gain a portion of its Tao marks. Thirdly, and the most crucial point, the skipping of calamities and tribulations. For example, Hu Immortal, an enslavement path lone cultivator from Central Continent, had died during her 5th earthly calamity, from the blue charm lightning shadow. Even though the blue charm lightning shadow remained, the 5th earthly calamity of Hu Immortal blessed land was past. If a Gu Immortal annexed this blessed land, they would gain all of the resources inside Hu Immortal blessed land. At the same time, they would receive a portion of the blessed land's Tao marks, and they would skip at least one calamity or tribulation to a maximum of 5. Furthermore, the countdown towards their next calamity or tribulation would be reset. Southern border, Jade Pot Mountain. Ying Wuxia's group arrived at the interior of the mountain. To think that Jade Pot Mountain has jade soil on the surface, producing beautiful jade that is renowned in southern border, but the interior is actually an icy land, it is truly another world here. Bai Ningbing stood inside the icy cave, sighing in shock. As they got deeper into Jade Pot Mountain, the temperature lowered, frost energy emanated, even though the GU Immortals had defensive methods, they still felt a strong chill assaulting them. Ying Wuxie suddenly paused his steps. He seemed to have sensed something. He spoke while looking forward at the empty space. We are here. This is a rank 6 immortal aperture left behind by a strength path GU immortal of Shadow Sect. Next, Ying Wuxie turned around and said to He Lu Lan, He Lu Lan, this is for you. You have enough strength path attainment level, you can annex this immortal aperture. This way, your upcoming calamities and tribulations will be bypassed. He Lu Lan's expression changed. She had the great strength true martial physique, one of the 10 extremes. Her calamities and tribulations were immensely powerful. Annexing an immortal aperture could resolve her problem, but it sacrificed her potential for growth in the future, only to obtain some short-term benefits. She hesitated, but eventually gritted her teeth, walking forward. Ying Wuxie internally nodded at this. He understood He Lu Lan's feelings. He spoke, in a GU Immortal's cultivation journey, pursuing potential and long-term growth is not wise. If you cannot survive the upcoming tribulation, then there is no future to speak of. Don't worry, this blessed land contains strength path Dao marks that are not fewer in number than your 10 extreme physique tribulation. Shadow Sect's cultivation methods are not something you can imagine. But how much you can actually absorb is up to your own fortune. Because the annexing of others' immortal apertures will often result in a reduction of Dao marks gained to some extent. It is far less than stuffing a GU immortal's corpse into your immortal aperture directly and allowing it to break down naturally. He Lu Lan's body shook, the anticipation in her gaze became heavier. Ying Wuxie could not help but think of Fang Yuan. He added in his mind, of course, the sovereign immortal body is exempt from this. Chapter 1185, Unexpected Joy. What is going on? Fang Yuan was confused. Under the cooperation of the Blessed Land's pinkish-red spirit snake, he successfully annexed Handong Blessed Land, turning it into a portion of the sovereign immortal aperture. Thus, a shallow rock beach appeared in many northern plains, within the sovereign immortal aperture. In the shallow beach, there was clear jade green water, with all sorts of fish and prawns in it. They could be seen swimming in the clear water. Between the crevices of the rocks, algae and seaweed flowed with the waves. There were even seashells and conchs. There was a great number of pinkish-red spirit snakes. Some were moving alone, exploring the crevices. Some formed into groups, swimming in the green water, resembling a ball of red threads as they moved together. Some spirit snake groups moved in hundreds. It was a grand sight. What was worth mentioning was that there was a desolate beast pinkish-red spirit snake. It was resting in a crevice between some rocks. It seemed to be in deep sleep. Even when the entire blessed land was engulfed, it did not wake up. Fang Yuan moved the whole of Handong Blessed Land over. The assimilation was simply perfect. Normally, if Fang Yuan took out these resources and planted them into his sovereign immortal aperture personally, he would need to dig rivers and create their habitat. In that case, because of the change in environment and difference in Dao marks, much of these resources would wither and die. Like what happened when Fang Yuan took away Heifan Grotto Heaven's resources, he had to constantly sell the resources in the outside world. Because these resources could not grow in the sovereign immortal aperture. It was not worth the effort in trying. But now, Fang Yuan directly annexed the immortal aperture. He saved a lot of trouble. The resources in Handong Blessed Land, be it the fish, prawns, or plants, did not need to adapt to a new environment. Because Fang Yuan moved the entire environment over directly. This way, Fang Yuan had completely, with 100% efficiency, taken over all of Handong's accumulation of resources over his life, and instantly absorbed them. Handong Blessed Land only produces one valuable thing, that is the spirit snakes. He can already nurture desolate beast-level spirit snakes, even though this blessed land is low-grade. To reach this extent of development is already outstanding. Thus, Fang Yuan could inherit Handong's business and sell the spirit snakes. Spirit snakes were a type of mutated beast, but they had a high ceiling of growth. They could reach a peak of ancient desolate beast level. Fang Yuan assessed it. This rock beach was the foundation for raising spirit snakes. The profits it generated for him slightly exceeded the star fragment grass fields that were in mini blue heaven. Fang Yuan put these resources aside for now. There were other, stranger matters. Firstly, Handong Blessed Land's land spirit, that pinkish-red spirit snake, was still around in the rock beach. It did not die. Hiss hiss hiss. The pinkish-red spirit snake twisted its delicate body, shaking its head. Even the land spirit itself was confused. The blessed land was annexed. The land spirit would die. This was common knowledge in the GU immortal world. But when it came to the sovereign immortal aperture, logic was meant to be defied. Fang Yuan did not expect this at all. He was mentally prepared to sacrifice the blessed land's land spirit. But to think that this happened. Fang Yuan's will descended to the rock beach, forming into a human shape. The pinkish-red spirit snake slithered over, happily hissing at Fang Yuan. Hiss, 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 hiss. Master, master, what is going on? I actually did not die. I am still alive, master, master, you are amazing. Fang Yuan's will laughed. Of course, this is my secret art, solely created by me, it is unique in this entire GU Immortal world. You think I wanted to harm you? But you are truly loyal, you were willing to sacrifice yourself, and give everything to me. The pinkish-red spirit snake's eyes were shining, it had deep admiration towards Fang Yuan. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Wow, my master is so amazing, master's talent is higher than heaven. I am truly so blessed to have a master like you. Fang Yuan's will nodded in agreement. Alright, even though I have created a secret art to annex immortal apertures of others, this is the first time I used it. How much control do you have over this rock beach? The spirit snake answered. Same as before, master, master, you are so amazing. Oh, Fang Yuan's will pondered, before saying, then, little spirit snake, can you control any other areas? The spirit snake tried and shook its head. No master, I cannot. It can only control its original territory, huh? Fang Yuan's will thought and said. Then, can you try and leave this rock beach? The spirit snake was very obedient, it immediately tried. Unfortunately, as Fang Yuan had predicted, it could not leave the rock beach at all. Thus, the little spirit snake can only manage this rock beach in the future. Fang Yuan felt a slight pity. He lacked a capable individual to manage the sovereign immortal aperture for him. Earlier, he had hoped that there would be someone like Little Who Immortal to manage the place for him. After all, the sovereign immortal aperture was just too big. Fang Yuan's divine sense needed time to just look over it completely, it was a hassle to manage. It used up a lot of his time and energy over typical days. The appearance of the pinkish-red spirit snake was a somewhat unexpected and joyful surprise. Fang Yuan had wanted to let it manage the sovereign immortal aperture for him, but now it seemed, forget about the sovereign immortal aperture, it could not even manage the whole of mini northern plains. Because it could only move around in its original territory. Forget it. This rock beach can be taken care of by the pinkish-red spirit snake, it can sense any issues immediately if they occur. Why must I be unsatisfied? Fang Yuan quickly got over it and continued thinking calmly. The pinkish-red spirit snake was not destroyed, it still existed, this was just one aspect that shocked Fang Yuan. The other aspect was in Dao marks. I annexed Handong Blessed Land, but I actually absorbed all of the Dao marks of the Blessed Land, what is going on? Fang Yuan was puzzled. According to the logic of the GU Immortal world, when GU Immortals annex immortal apertures, the Dao marks they gain would be greatly reduced from the total amount. But Fang Yuan obtained everything. Before annexing the Blessed Land, Fang Yuan had used perceivable Dao Immortal GU to inspect the number of Dao marks in Handong Blessed Land. Its transformation path Dao marks were the highest in number, about 7,000, followed by water and earth path Dao marks, about 1,000 each. Time path, space path, fire path, and other Dao marks were mixed and varied in numbers, some were less than 100, some were a few hundred. These Dao marks were all absorbed by Fang Yuan. As Handong Blessed Land completely fused with him, it became a part of the sovereign immortal aperture. Results by testing with perceivable Dao Immortal GU proved this point. I kind of understand why. Fang Yuan thought for a while, realizing something. What caused this situation was very likely to be the trait of non-conflicting Dao marks that the sovereign immortal body had. Ordinary GU immortals, even those of the 10 extreme physiques, when annexing immortal apertures, would face conflicts between different Dao marks. The GU immortals' Dao marks were like the owners of the house. And the annexed Dao marks were like guests. If guests want to enter the house and refuse to leave, even attempting to become the new owners of the house, the original owners would chase them away. Eventually, the original owners will take in a batch of guests that they like, and these guests would suit the nature of the owners, they would be of the same path. As for the other paths, Dao marks, they would be chased out, few of them could enter the house and become new owners. But Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal body was different. This house was open and invited any guest to stay. Because Dao marks did not conflict, the original owner could allow any newcomer to stay without any issues. It is all-encompassing. Not only are Dao marks non-conflicting, even land spirits can be taken in, it is like the huge world outside, there is nothing it cannot contain. Fang Yuan suddenly felt a trace of spectral soul demon Venerable's incredible fortitude and resolution. The sovereign immortal body was formed from sovereign immortal fetus GU, it was deduced by Spectral Soul single-handedly, expending a great amount of time, effort, and resources, eventually refined through great danger. This immortal GU was the embodiment of Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's beliefs and mindset. Fang Yuan could not help but praise internally. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable reached the apex through killing, he created Soul Path and was invincible in the world. But after he died, his soul went to the door of life and death, he went a step further and broke the limits he faced during his lifetime, reaching a state of being akin to that of a sea which all rivers flow into, becoming an all-encompassing being. He was truly incredible. Non-conflicting Tao marks made Fang Yuan's body very fragile, but the advantages greatly outweighed the disadvantages. Fang Yuan could use strong defensive methods to negate this weakness. But the great benefits it brought could not be replicated through other means. After annexing Han Dong Blessed Land, Fang Yuan's final gain was also his main objective, skipping calamities and tribulations. He succeeded. Originally, his sixth earthly calamity was impending. But after annexing Han Dong Blessed Land, not only was the sixth earthly calamity skipped, the countdown until the next calamity, and he even jumped forward by 4 calamities. I have already passed 5 earthly calamities, with the 6th coming soon. Now that I skipped 4, I have already passed the 9th earthly calamity, and my first heavenly tribulation would be next. GU Immortals passed tribulations time and time again, it is like they were obtaining the acknowledgement of heaven and earth. The achievements of predecessors would be enjoyed by the person who annexed their immortal aperture. Even though Fang Yuan was not very clear on the reasoning behind this, it was proven countless times in history by many GU Immortals, annexing other people's blessed lands would allow one to skip their tribulations. This was also a way to undergo tribulations, but in actuality, there were huge restrictions and tough conditions to meet. And the disadvantages were not small. Sigh, after annexing this strength path immortal aperture, even though I gained a lot, I lost a lot of future potential in exchange for the current gains. Inside southern borders Jade Pot Mountain, Heilu Lan had also annexed an immortal aperture. But her expression was very gloomy. Chapter 1186. Ice Soul Immortal GU. Even though Heilu Lan obtained a lot of resources, and her greatest weakness was alleviated, her gains in Tao Mark were very little. Making an estimation, it was less than 30% of the immortal aperture's Tao marks. She skipped more than 10 calamities and tribulations directly. This was an immeasurable loss to Heilu Lan. Because of her having one of the 10 extreme physiques, every time she underwent tribulation, it would be extremely strong. Fortune and disaster came together. Whenever she succeeded in passing the tribulation, the Tao marks that she gained would be much greater in number. More than 10 calamities and tribulations, it was not just earthly calamities, but a heavenly tribulation as well. Considering this, her losses were huge. Even though undergoing tribulation was a dangerous thing, for a bold and fierce character like Heilu Lan, she was not afraid of difficulties, she was only afraid of being ordinary. Even if I am unwilling, what can I do? I am stuck deep in the abyss, it is not up to me, Heilu Lan sighed internally. Ying Wuxie observed her appearance, seeing Heilu Lan's gloomy expression, he smiled internally as he said, "All right, let's continue traveling." The group passed the icy tunnel, getting even deeper into the mountain. Eventually, they arrived in front of a wall of ice. Through the white wall of ice, the immortals could see countless hearts inside. These hearts were blue, there were about at least 1,000 of them. Bai Ningbing did not know of them. But Tai Bai Yunsheng screamed, "Oh heavens, these are ice hearts, they are all ice hearts." Heilu Lan's expression also changed. Not just ice hearts, there are twin ice hearts, the latter is a rank 7 immortal material, and in such quantity. Even the normally quiet Xinu gasped. Unimaginable, Jade Pot Mountain actually has such an abundance of wealth. If southern borders GU Immortals knew about this, a storm would be whipped up. In order to fight for these ice hearts, they would fight until rivers of blood flowed. Jade Pot Mountain was not uninhabited, there was a village on the mountain, with the surname Yu. Jade Pot Mountain produced jade stones and jade GU, Yu Clan Village relied on these resources for survival. Among mortal forces, Yu Clan Village, which had many rank 5 GU masters, was very powerful. But to GU Immortals, they were not worth mentioning. Who could have thought that Jade Pot Mountain, controlled by a mortal force, could have such a quantity of rare immortal materials stacked together? Ying Wuxie sighed deeply. Jade Pot Mountain is nothing special on the surface, it is easy to ignore. Even my shadow sect also found this place due to a fortuitous encounter. But the ice hearts formed naturally here are not so high in quantity. My shadow sect's GU Immortals had secretly set up a GU formation to turn this place into a GU breeding ground. In the past, this place had nurtured ice heart GU, but they had been taken away. There is still one ice heart immortal GU here, it was not ready earlier, but now it has completely formed. Bai Ningbing, come here and retrieve this wild immortal GU using the method I taught you. Alright, Bai Ningbing said without hesitation. She took large steps ahead. Next, using Ying Wuxia's instructions, she stretched out both hands and placed them on the wall of ice, which was covered in frost energy. Without using any defensive methods, Bai Ningbing's hands were completely frozen, frost energy assaulted her as a thick layer of frost formed on her arms. He Lulan saw this and raised her eyebrows. Tai Bai Yunsheng wanted to speak, he had an expression of pity. Ying Wuxia smiled lightly, she knew was expressionless, not saying a word. Bai Ningbing endured the intense pain as frost energy traveled through her body from her arms. Soon, she felt her body turning stiff, even her mind was becoming frozen. The intense threat of death assaulted her in both body and mind. But she was unmoved. Inside her clear blue eyes, a firm, determined gaze could be seen. She was even more stubborn and cold than this ice wall. Endure it. Even if I die, it is nothing much. HMPH, dying from frost like this, it is interesting too, isn't it? Furthermore, Shadow Sect suffered a huge blow, they need manpower. Ying Wuxia tried so hard to recruit me, how could he let me die like this? As expected, a change occurred in front of Bai Ningbing. Inside the wall of ice, the blue ice hearts were shaking together, the vibrations were small initially, but got more intense with time. More than 10 breaths of time later, the wall of ice made a loud sound, cracks were forming before the immortal's eyes. Soon, they were covering the wall of ice like a spider web, one of the cracks went deep into the interior of the wall. The aura of immortal GU leaked out. Tai Bai Yunsheng almost wanted to help out. This was a wild immortal GU, it was very hard to catch, if they did not take action now, it would be too late. But Ying Wuxia was unmoved, he watched silently. Since he kept motionless, He Lulan and she knew also did not act. Bai Ningbing could not move. She was completely frozen, frost energy had permeated her entire body, she was close to death. But this person who was dying greatly attracted that wild immortal GU which had broken out of the ice. This wild immortal GU flew over slowly, entering Bai Ningbing's hold. In the immortal's vision, this immortal GU was about the size of a baby's fist, resembling a spider with a white body and 8 claws, as well as a back with blue flowery markings that showed the appearance of a vengeful ghost screaming. Rank 6 Ice Soul Immortal GU. Bai Ningbing focused her mind, opening her phantom aperture's entrance. Ice Soul Immortal GU directly flew in. When the phantom aperture's entrance closed, Ying Wuxia immediately acted, healing Bai Ningbing's injuries, dragging her back from the edge of death. Good, Ice Soul Immortal GU is already in your aperture, it has nowhere to escape, refining it will be extremely easy. Ying Wuxia clapped and smiled. He Lulan's gaze shined, she suddenly spoke. I understand, this Ice Soul Immortal GU has a close connection to Bai Ningbing. Because Bai Ningbing has the Northern Dark Ice Soul physique. Indeed, the aura of the Northern Dark Ice Soul physique has an intense attraction to Ice Soul Immortal GU. Thus, I asked Bai Ningbing to capture it without using any defensive methods. It was to completely release the aura of the Northern Dark Ice Soul physique without any concealment. Ying Wuxia nodded, explaining. But if Bai Ningbing's vitality was too high, the wild Ice Soul Immortal GU would hesitate. Thus, only when Bai Ningbing was on the verge of death, would Ice Soul Immortal GU feel that she was no threat and go towards her automatically. So that's it, Tai Bai Yunsheng realized. Lord Fang Yuan is so wise. The loyal she knew also said. Ha ha ha, Ying Wuxia raised his head and laughed. My shadow sect is huge and has many resources, being with me will give you all great benefits. Like this wall of ice, my shadow sect had spent 1,000 years mimicking a natural environment, creating this GU refinement ground. The cultivation methods that my shadow sect has are unimaginable to all of you. If your aptitude is low, we will raise it. If you have few Dao marks, we will increase them. Everything is possible. He Lulan's heart shook. Ying Wuxia's final words were clearly directed at her. This fellow, he has learned how to be a true leader, he is really improving rapidly. Before He Lulan could continue thinking, Ying Wuxia waved his hand, we're leaving. Next, we will take over Baishang Grotto Heaven. Northern Plains. I skipped too few calamities and tribulations. Fang Yuan sighed, he was not happy about this. At almost the same time as He Lulan, who was unhappy over her major losses, wanting to skip as few calamities and tribulations as possible. Fang Yuan sighed, the number of calamities and tribulations skipped did not match his expectations. If possible, he wanted to be a rank 7 GU immortal at the very next moment. The endless number of battles in Heifan Grotto Heaven made Fang Yuan realize his biggest flaw. His cultivation level was too low, his green grape immortal essence was not efficient. As Fang Yuan's identity got more complex, the dangers he faced also became greater. In the past, Fang Yuan could control the future well, because he was alone. Now that he had many alliance agreements, he could not help himself. And with the trip to Eastern Sea, he did not manage to exterminate Shadow Sect. The growth of Ying Wuxie and the rest made Fang Yuan feel immense pressure. Thus, he would rather sacrifice his future potential and raise his battle strength rapidly. Without the present, how can there be a future? Potential is good, but to have room for development, one needs to spend time. The true attitude for cultivation is to be practical, everything is for the sake of our present reality. Fang Yuan's losses were even more severe than Heilu Lan's, but he did not feel any pity or loss, he had a resolute and determined gaze. But, Han Dong had already gone through 2 heavenly tribulations and more than 20 earthly calamities. I annexed his immortal aperture, but I only progressed by 4 earthly calamities. Is this because the sovereign immortal aperture is too big? The effect of skipping calamities and tribulations from annexing immortal apertures is not very evident. Fang Yuan thought about it from all angles, he felt that the sovereign immortal aperture was the cause. Rank 6 GU immortals face an earthly calamity every 10 years, and a heavenly tribulation every 100 years. After 300 years, after 3 heavenly tribulations, they would become rank 7. During this process, if it was split into 3, Fang Yuan was nearly 1/3 done. This is not fast enough, I need to hit rank 7 as soon as possible, it would give me a huge boost in battle strength in terms of sustainability. Financially, I will also grow rapidly. If only Han Dong Blessed Land is not enough, I will have to annex more immortal apertures. Even though the gains in Dao marks cannot compare to undergoing tribulation myself, I can save a lot of time, I can deal with challenges and dangers from all aspects more easily now. Furthermore, when annexing blessed lands, I get all of their Dao marks without any losses. Even though it is still a loss, I just need to kill some GU immortals to make up for it. Thinking of this, Fang Yuan had a ruthless light flashing in his eyes. After uncovering another advantage of the sovereign immortal aperture, Fang Yuan discovered a new way to cultivate. His original method was to go with the natural flow, undergoing tribulations and obtaining a great number of Dao marks and true meaning. But this method was too slow, his battle strength rose slowly, what grew the most was his immortal aperture's foundation. It was not suited for Fang Yuan, it would only make his situation more dangerous. Currently, Fang Yuan was going to use the method of annexing immortal apertures and skipping calamities and tribulations to rapidly raise his cultivation level. When his cultivation level rises, his battle strength would also rise. Fang Yuan would use his new battle strength to kill more enemies and annex their apertures, to avoid undergoing tribulation himself. It could also allow his immortal aperture's foundation to grow, and he would gain Dao marks as well. This method allowed Fang Yuan's battle strength to grow at the fastest speed, but his immortal aperture's foundation would increase more slowly. But it was suited for Fang Yuan's situation, it allowed him to have a better chance at survival. Both cultivation methods could create a cycle of benefits for him, they just had their own advantages and strengths. Chapter 1187, Fang Yuan's Cultivation Opportunity. Immortal Killer Move, days pass like years. Countless GU worms flew in the sky, expending green grape immortal essence as a grand light filled the entire sovereign immortal aperture. Splash splash splash. The tributary of the river of time in the sovereign immortal aperture showed its true form, it could be seen with the naked eye. Under the power of days pass like years, this tributary of the river of time shrank, the river surface became thinner. Huff, letting out a breath, Fang Yuan finally relaxed. I succeeded, the immortal aperture's rate of time has greatly slowed down. The interval between my calamities and tribulations have lengthened drastically. After confirming that the killer move succeeded, Fang Yuan retracted all of his concentration. Right now, he was inside his cloud city in Langya Blessed Land. After annexing Han Dong Blessed Land, Fang Yuan immediately returned. Taichu was too dangerous, while Fang Yuan's dark limit had a time-limited effect, Heaven's will was plotting to kill Fang Yuan at all times. Now that his immortal aperture time was slowed down, the following calamities and tribulations were far away. Fang Yuan felt relaxed all of a sudden, his pressure diminished. He had undergone careful consideration before making this decision. Since he changed his cultivation method, he did not need to undergo tribulations so frequently. Annexing blessed lands could allow him to skip calamities and tribulations, this effect had nothing to do with the rate of time in his own blessed land. The most important thing now were blessed lands. Where could he find more blessed lands? Fang Yuan first thought of Immortal blessed land and Starform blessed land in Central Continent. But soon, he disregarded this unrealistic idea. It was impossible. Central Continent was a dangerous territory. The 10 ancient sects along with Heavenly Court, which had deeper foundation than Longevity Heaven, would want nothing more than to kill Fang Yuan. Like how Ying Wuxie and the rest fled from Central Continent, for Fang Yuan, it was also a death zone. Some time ago, Starform blessed land faced its calamities and tribulations. The land spirit wrote to Fang Yuan, sobbing while asking for help. Fang Yuan ignored it, only sending some mortal Gu and immortal essence to the land spirit, asking it to save itself. Starform blessed land was in such straits, the exposed to immortal blessed land was even more out of the question. Fang Yuan thought of Luokou Valley. Or more accurately, the location that Luokou Valley was previously at. There was an intense battle at Luokou Valley, with Feng Juzhe leading the Central Continent Gu Immortals to fight against Shadow Sect's Northern Plains branch with Qin Bai Sheng as the leader. They went through an intense battle, with victory going to the Central Continent Gu Immortals in the end. At Luokou Valley's original location, there were many Gu Immortals' blessed lands. These blessed lands are in Northern Plains, can I go over and take them? This was an alluring idea, but Fang Yuan hesitated for a while, and soon after, he gave up on this option as well. Because this choice carried great risks. Even though this battle was hidden and the Gu Immortals of Northern Plains did not know about it, Central Continent's 10 great ancient sects and Heavenly Court knew about it, as well as Shadow Sect themselves. After Gu Immortals die, blessed lands or grotto heavens would be formed outside. These blessed lands or grotto heavens contain the resources accumulated by the Gu Immortals over their lifetimes. No matter how affluent a force was, they would try all ways to reclaim these resources. Since Central Continent could send people to Northern Plains for investigation of 88 Truyong buildings collapse, then they can naturally send others to reclaim those blessed lands. And Shadow Sect too, would want to take these blessed lands back. I did not go there earlier, there is no way I am going there now. Fang Yuan's decision was very wise. Because right now, the person secretly helping Central Continent to reclaim these immortal apertures was the rank 8 Gu Immortal Prince Feng Xian. If Fang Yuan was blindly hopeful and went there on his own, Prince Feng Xian would probably laugh even in his sleep, seeing how Fang Yuan went to him on his own without any effort exerted. Fang Yuan thought of Eastern Sea next. Eastern Sea's turbulent flow sea area, at its center, there were islands in bubbles. One of the islands contained the secluded domain of heaven and earth, City Well, and inside City Well, there were lots of Gu Immortals' blessed lands. These Gu Immortals were all slammed to death by Fang Yuan using the effect of City Well to amplify Giant Hand's power. He even went inside these blessed lands at the moment they were placed down, and went inside to scavenge for resources. The most alluring one was Dingqi Blessed Land. Dingqi was a blood path rank 7 Gu Immortal. He self-detonated before dying, not leaving any resources, immortal Gu, or soul for Fang Yuan, but his immortal aperture remained. Even though Fang Yuan could annex his immortal aperture, he did not do so on the spot. Firstly, Dingqi Blessed Land's land spirit had a difficult requirement for ownership. It needed Fang Yuan to complete the blood path immortal Gu recipe of blood revenge. If Fang Yuan still had the light of wisdom, he could rapidly complete this. But now, Wisdom Gu could not be used, and Blood Revenge Immortal Gu was less than 10% complete. If Fang Yuan wanted to complete this Immortal Gu recipe, even with his Blood Path Grandmaster attainment level, he would need to spend a lot of time and effort on it. The cost was not worth the gain. And secondly, Fang Yuan's previous cultivation method placed emphasis on potential. He went through tribulations one by one. If he annexed Dingqi Blessed Land, it would go against his plan. But now was different. Firstly, Fang Yuan did not achieve his goal in this Eastern Sea trip. Even though he weakened Ying Wuxie and gang, he did not kill them once and for all. Fang Yuan had a deep understanding of Ying Wuxie. Their development speed surpassed his. The next time they met, he would be on the defensive. There was also the Variant Human Alliance, Heifan Grotto Heavens Contest, joining Chu Sect, and the Crazed Demon Agreement that was coming soon. His status was getting more complex. Fang Yuan felt trapped inside a vortex. In lots of situations, he could not do what he wanted. The alliance agreements were restricting his freedom. Times were different now. As the situation continued to change, Fang Yuan realized he too needed to change. His cultivation experiences in the 500 years of his previous life gave him keen instinct towards how he should continue his future developments, as well as impending threats. He had a strong feeling that if he did not make a change, the future was going to be very bleak. Realizing the sovereign immortal aperture's special trait in annexing blessed lands was just such an opportunity. I am a blood path Grand Master. Annexing a rank 7 blessed land is not a problem in terms of attainment level. But a smaller immortal aperture cannot devour a bigger one. What does the bigger here mean? If it referred to cultivation level, Fang Yuan's rank 6 immortal aperture could not annex the rank 7 Dingqi blessed land. But if it referred to the immortal aperture's foundation, then the sovereign immortal aperture could definitely devour the rank 7 Dingqi blessed land easily. Fang Yuan needed an answer to this question. It was not hard to get, he just needed to try. But other than that, there is another problem, the land spirit's acknowledgement. The acknowledgement of Dingqi land spirit is quite difficult to get, I can't satisfy it currently. But if I attempt to use force, the land spirit would be destroyed, and the blessed land would be destroyed as well, creating the winds of assimilation. When these winds of assimilation blow in City Well, will it implicate the other immortal apertures? Will it destroy City Well directly? Fang Yuan had thought about this problem back in Eastern Sea. Thus, he did not forcefully attempt to get those blessed lands. To destroy the land spirit while keeping the blessed land intact, it would need to absorb a fragment of the immemorial 9 heavens. But only Grotto Heavens could absorb fragments of the immemorial 9 heavens. Like Heifan Grotto Heaven, even though Fang Yuan destroyed the heavenly spirit, it still existed. It was because this Grotto Heaven world had absorbed a fragment of the immemorial 9 heavens. But that was not the case for land spirits. And the turbulent flow sea area was far away in Eastern Sea, taking a journey there and back would use a lot of Fang Yuan's time. Heavens will might even be plotting to prevent Fang Yuan from obtaining City Well. Fang Yuan thought about it carefully, he found another problem limiting his annexing of immortal apertures. It was attainment level. Fang Yuan was not spectral soul demon Venerable, the latter had high attainment levels in every path, he could easily absorb blessed lands into the sovereign immortal aperture. But Fang Yuan could not. Or rather, Shadow Sect refined sovereign immortal fetus GU in order to devour immortal apertures. Fang Yuan realized that if he did not take sovereign immortal fetus GU, and allowed spectral soul to revive, then his development would be at an incredibly shocking speed. He had the most bloodthirsty nature among the Venerables, he had many killer moves. After killing GU immortals, he could either take their main path's Dao marks and give up on the immortal aperture to raise his Dao mark foundation, or annex the immortal aperture and skip calamities and tribulations, resetting the counting of his impending tribulation. The two methods could be used in conjunction in the most efficient way. No wonder spectral soul managed to succeed in my previous life. No wonder heavens will try all means possible to send me to the past and stop him. Thinking of this, Fang Yuan's gaze subconsciously moved towards the south. Towards the direction of southern border. Fang Yuan knew that the giant dream realm was there, a trace of spectral soul's remnant soul was there, it was the target that Ying Wuxie and the rest were desperately trying to save. Attainment level dream realm southern border. Fang Yuan's body shook, he suddenly thought of something. The thoughts in his mind became extremely clear at this moment. The cultivation opportunity I need is in southern border. It is there. Snowy Mountain, first peak. The refinement path GU formation was still activated. Lady Wan Shou was energetic, appearing in front of Ma Hongyun again. Ma Hongyun saw her and his hair stood on end, he screamed, "You are here to shock me again, you want to shock me again. Good that you know." Lady Wan Shou smiled, pushing the lightning ball in her hand towards him. Ah, Ma Hongyun was twitching from the pain, his eyes rolled back but he did not foam saliva from his mouth. At the same time, his voice was very clear, if one listened closely, it was rhythmic. All in all, he lasted for a while before fainting. His cultivation level rose again. Also, he lasted 30% longer this time against the lightning refinement. Lady Wan Shou frowned as she observed. From the eyes, nose, and ears, blood was flowing out. This was the backlash of GU refinement. But Lady Wan Shou had experienced it many times, she was used to this backlash. Her healing process was also very rapid and efficient. It is a bit troublesome. The more times Ma Hongyun undergoes lightning refinement, the stronger his resistance, and the more likely this crucial step is to fail. What should I do? Change the refinement method? No, if I change the method now, I will need to change the entire Immortal GU recipe. Half of the materials we found earlier would be unusable. Snowy Mountain cannot bear such a cost anymore. Lady Wan Shou sighed to herself, feeling extremely worried. Chapter 1188, Crazed Demon Agreement. Some days later. Northern Plains, Crazed Demon Cave. Lu Guanyi, we have been waiting for you. Not Immortal came to the first layer, welcoming Fang Yuan and Chu Du. The three conversed as they got deeper into the cave. Fang Yuan discovered that the route this time was slightly different from the previous time he came here. Are the demonic sounds recently very frequent? Fang Yuan asked. They are getting more frequent now. Thus, our travel route also has to be modified. Once the demonic sounds start, Dao marks will go into chaos. Not only will the desolate beasts go crazy, the terrain will also change. Not Immortal explained. A moment later, they saw Pang Shan. Pang Shan woke up from his slumber, his eyes opened slightly. You are here again, Brother Chu. He seemed to have a good relationship with Chu Du. Next, he looked at Fang Yuan. Brother Lu, I know about your capabilities, let's talk in depth after the Crazed Demon Agreement. Fang Yuan asked. How will we establish the Crazed Demon Agreement? We will need to go down to the third last layer. I can't move easily, I will not go with you. Pang Shan said vaguely, his explanation was as good as nothing. Follow me. Not Immortal continued to lead the way. The three immortals continued to go down. The deeper they went, the more turns they had to make. Sometimes, the straight distance seemed to be short, but they had to make a long detour. Believe me, detours are much faster than walking straight in this place. Not Immortal smiled. Chu Du nodded, pointing out to Fang Yuan, when we get there, don't be too surprised. Fang Yuan felt some curiosity and anticipation. A while later, through a cavern entrance, Fang Yuan officially stepped into the third last layer of Crazed Demon Cave. His vision was covered by bright glorious lights. All sorts of colors were emanated from the rocks, soil, and grass in this place. Fang Yuan sucked in a deep breath. These are all lights of Dao marks. Only quasi-rank 9 immortal materials can radiate such lights. The Dao marks here are so dense that every piece of soil and rock is a quasi-rank 9 immortal material. Not Immortal laughed. Brother Lu makes sense, but these immortal materials have chaotic Dao marks, they cannot be used. Chu Du saw Fang Yuan's shock and smiled. Back then, when I first came here, I suffered the same shock. Not Immortal ended his laughter. The Dao marks here are extremely dense, it is not as simple as just emitting the lights of Dao marks. There is almost a state of a battlefield killer move in here. Moving here is extremely difficult. Brother Lu, why don't you try? Fang Yuan quickly shook his head. Not Immortal, since you say this, I will believe you. No need to try. Not Immortal looked at Chu Du, smiling. Brother Lu is smarter than a certain person. Back then, he refused to believe it. He wanted to charge in. I could not change his mind and in the end, he suffered a lot. Chu Du rubbed his nose, admitting to Fang Yuan. Not Immortal is talking about me. I spent 3 years to recover from that injury. Don't look down at the Dao marks here. This place is extremely dangerous, each step you take is precarious. I'll teach you a secret, try to get close to the Dao marks of your own path, that can make your traveling easier and face the least obstruction. Not Immortal nodded. That is true, I am a rule path GU Immortal, I have to try walking on places with more rule path Dao marks. And I cultivate strength path, I need to get close to the strength path Dao marks, thus, in the following journey, we cannot help you, you have to walk on your own, Brother Lu. Chu Du said with concern. Fang Yuan nodded. Not Immortal stepped forward first. I will go first, Brother Lu, watch carefully. Fang Yuan concentrated as he looked. Not Immortal's every step was very vigilant, the first 10 steps were very easy, he could move calmly, but after 10 steps, it became difficult. After 20 steps, his movements were stiff, it was like a formless force was weighing on him. After 30 steps, Not Immortal was perspiring profusely. At the 42nd step, he stopped for the first time, breathing roughly as he turned to ask Fang Yuan, Brother Lu, did you manage to watch that? Chu Du laughed. Not Immortal. Stop acting, you are clearly unable to continue, you still tried to ask Brother Lu a question to conceal the fact that you stopped. Not Immortal was exposed, he was embarrassed and snapped, Oh Chu Du, I want to see how many steps you can take. Can you go as far as me? Chu Du snorted. Would I be afraid of you? Watch closely. Before he finished his words, he took large steps forward on the Dao marks in the area. Initially, his speed was faster than Not Immortal, he moved like a dragon or tiger, Not Immortal's expression was dark. But soon, Chu Du took a wrong step and the light of Dao marks below him burst out. Chu Du grunted, his body shook as he spat out a mouthful of blood on the spot. He was heavily injured, his momentum was lost but he did not stop. Chu Du endured his injuries as he continued to walk step by step, as slow as a snail. Eventually, he took 38 and 39 steps, by the 40th step, he could no longer continue. His final burst of strength was used up. He stopped. I could not compare to you after all. Chu-du wiped the blood from his mouth, sighing. Not Immortal was very shocked. He stared at Chu-du with wide eyes. Domination Immortal, you actually improved so much since last time. I am ashamed. I have stayed in Crazed Demon Cave for so long. I have walked along this place hundreds of times more than you. I have such a huge advantage, but I only managed to take 42 steps. Chu-du laughed. All right, don't flatter me. I know you did not use your full strength. You are trying to salvage my face. Not Immortal did not deny it. He chuckled. Even so, your improvement is beyond my imagination. You are truly a genius at strength path cultivation. Domination Immortal indeed. As the saying goes, titles are never wrong. Chu-du laughed heartily, waving his hand. All right, let's stop the flattery. Next, we will see Brother Lu's performance. The two immortals turned around and watched Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan nodded. Don't laugh at me when I embarrass myself. Brother Lu, relax, this is your first time here, you should focus on the feeling of walking here, don't be obsessed over the number of steps. Not Immortal said. Chu-du laughed instead. Haha, don't worry Brother Lu, I will remember your pathetic state later. I walked 22 steps when I first came here, if you cannot beat me, I will laugh at you forever. Haha. Fang Yuan laughed too, it was a harmonious scene. But in truth, he understood internally, these two are purposely probing me. Even though Chu-du recommended me, they are not confident in my ability to explore this place, thus they created this situation. They are working together, purposely asking me to walk alone, they want to probe my foundation. If I perform too poorly, and am of no help to them, they might not even set the Crazed Demon agreement with me. Involving Limitless Demon Venerable and the secret of eternal life, Fang Yuan made up his mind to put up a good show, to display his strength for Not Immortal and Chu-du. Fang Yuan's eyes shined with a mysterious light, he breathed in deeply and firmly stood on the ground as he took a step forward. He chose the route with the most transformation path Dao marks. But at the next moment, Fang Yuan's expression changed. Haha, Chu-du observed his expression and laughed at the same time as Fang Yuan's changing expression. Brother Lu, watching alone is useless, can you feel the pressure already? Fang Yuan felt extremely mystified on the inside, but he showed no flaws on his expression. He did not answer Chu-du, he kept quiet and continued walking forward. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps like this, Fang Yuan took more than 10 steps forward. Fang Yuan's weird feeling intensified. What is going on? Why do I feel no obstruction? I have already taken more than 10 steps, it feels like I am walking on normal ground. This was not normal. Fang Yuan soon guessed that the situation was caused by his sovereign immortal body. Chu-du and Not Immortal face pressure because of the conflicting Dao marks. There are a lot of Dao marks here, while the GU immortals also have a lot of Dao marks in their bodies. So even though they took 1 step at a time, walking on paths with rule path or strength path Dao marks, the surrounding Dao marks are nearby and will still pressure and reject them. But I am different, the Dao marks here are not immortal killer moves, they have no offensive power, they cannot influence me. Of course, this is just my guess, the truth might not be like this. Fang Yuan thought as he continued walking, taking a few more steps ahead. Not Immortal and Chu-du's expressions changed mildly. This Lu Guanyi is so strong. Not Immortal was extremely shocked. He is almost at the 20th step, he can still move so calmly. The first time I came, every step was difficult, I had to exert all my effort, it was a pathetic sight. Chu-du recalled his own experience, compared to the situation in front of him, his pride and self-confidence was taking a huge beating. A thought appeared in his mind uncontrollably. Don't tell me, this Lu Guanyi is an even greater genius in cultivating transformation path compared to me and strength path. He has even higher attainment level. Actually, Fang Yuan was trying his best to conceal himself. He pretended to be panting, like he was very tired. But his acting was in reference to Chu-du and Not Immortal earlier. They had gone through this many times, they were experienced, they could maintain their composure. Even though Fang Yuan showed a pathetic sight, he was just slightly weaker than them. Eventually, Fang Yuan stopped at the 20th step, smiling, I am about the same as you, Brother Chu. Chu-du looked at Fang Yuan with deep meaning, Brother Lu, you have not gone all out. Fang Yuan smiled bitterly, I am barely holding on, if I continue, I will start spitting out blood. Chu-du's smile was even more bitter than his. I will not lie to Brother Lu, the first time I came here, I started spitting out blood at the 10th step. Chapter 1189, Huge Rise in Cultivation Level. Fang Yuan's heart jumped, he realized that his performance had gone overboard. But this was just a small mistake, it was not a problem. Let's continue moving, we can set the alliance agreement before talking more. Not Immortal smiled, his attitude was much warmer than before. Fang Yuan's earlier performance made Not Immortal's evaluation of him rise by several levels. The three traveled in the land of Dao marks with much difficulty. As they moved forward, Dao marks were denser, the obstruction was greater. Of course, this was referring to Not Immortal and Chudu. But Fang Yuan also faced a lot of difficulty, having to pretend he was having a tough time, so that Chudu and Not Immortal would not be suspicious of him. The three immortals walked and rested, the short journey took them 15 minutes. Eventually, they came to a rock. A newcomer. The rock suddenly spoke, as smoke rose up from the rock before vanishing. The rock had turned into a skinny and short Gu immortal. He had a goatee, he was at the height of Fang Yuan's knee, and his tiny eyes were shining brilliantly. This is one of the three crazed demon eccentrics, Wisdom Path Gu Immortal Secret Schemer. Chudu introduced at an appropriate timing. Fang Yuan gasped in his mind, this person is actually Secret Schemer. He concealed his expression perfectly, acting like he had heard it for the first time, immediately greeting, hello, I am Lu Guanyi of Transformation Path. A day later, Brother Lu, Brother Chu, you are leaving so soon, aren't you staying for a few more days? At the first layer of Crazed Demon Cave, Not Immortal tried to ask them to stay. No, Chudu smiled bitterly and rejected. You also know about Northern Plains situation, I recently created Chudu and allied with Baizu tribe. Right now, the Righteous Path is targeting our lone cultivator sect, they cannot stand us, they are gathering members to deal with us. Not Immortal sighed. These are external worldly affairs, what is there that you cannot part with? Fame and reputation, will they still remain after death? In less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than, after Verdant Great Sun died, his soul went to the door of life and death, he stayed in pacifying Soul Lake as reputation Gu left him. Only eternal life is the worthy goal in pursuit of us Gu immortals. Chudu had a determined expression. I will make sure Strength Path flourishes, this is a promise I made to someone, if I cannot achieve it, I will not live in peace. Fang Yuan could not help but look at Chudu. This was the first time he had heard Chudu say his aspiration. Chudu's expression of sincerity did not seem to be fake. It seems that there is a story behind Chudu cultivating Strength Path. Fang Yuan was thinking about this, when Not Immortal asked him. Brother Lu, you have a lot of potential, why don't you stay here? Fang Yuan smiled. I came here this time to sign the Crazed Demon Agreement. Now that it is done, I have other matters to settle. Not Immortal actually thought more highly of Fang Yuan. Mainly because Fang Yuan's performance this time left a deep impression on him. Fang Yuan was more confident than Not Immortal in this aspect. He felt that he could even run freely in the third last layer's Daomark landscape. But if he did that, it would be too shocking, the jaws of the three crazed demon eccentrics would drop. I have not seen the bottom and second last layers yet, I cannot assess them. But the third last layer is not a problem. Derivation GU is at the bottom layer, but with the three crazed demon eccentrics guarding it, I cannot act alone. Fang Yuan felt it was somewhat of a pity. One day, he would return to Crazed Demon Cave, using his advantage to explore the place. But now was not the time. He had to raise his cultivation level, that was the most important matter. As for Derivation GU, even if Fang Yuan obtained it, what use would it have? It was a rank 9 immortal GU, Fang Yuan thought back to Wisdom GU, he could neither use it, nor would he know how to, it would be a huge burden if he actually obtained it. Other than eternal life, everything else is temporary. Brother Lu, how long would you need? Not Immortal asked. He did not want to let a useful person like Fang Yuan go. Fang Yuan's gaze shined, looking at Chudu. Actually, I am a member of Chu sect, right now the Huang Jin tribes are attacking Chu sect, I need to help them. Chudu knew that Fang Yuan was using him as an excuse, but hearing this, he still felt warmed internally. Sigh, you guys never mind. Not Immortal saw that he could not convince Fang Yuan and gave up. Fang Yuan and Chudu said goodbye to Not Immortal, before flying towards the sky. On the way back, Fang Yuan asked Chudu about the situation in Northern Plains, as well as the difficulties Chu sect was currently facing. Fang Yuan had also undergone the Crazed Demon Agreement, his relationship with Chudu had deepened again. Chudu did not conceal it from him, he smiled bitterly, right now, I feel great pressure too. Even though Chu sect allied with Baizu tribe, we are against an enemy with tens or hundreds of times our strength. But they are not unified and have their own territories, they can only deploy limited GU immortals. And they are in the righteous path, they talk about rules and reputation. We still have a chance. When are they coming? Fang Yuan asked the crucial question. Chu Du chuckled. Far from now. Even though they are spreading news everywhere and saying harsh words, they are still far from setting off. These Huang Jin tribes have their own conflicts and disagreements, they need to consider a lot of things are not as simple for them as us demonic path members. Fang Yuan nodded. Chu Du's words made him gain even clearer insight and analysis of the current situation in Northern Plains. Chu Du looked at Fang Yuan. This might sound presumptuous, but Brother Liu, your transformation path has already reached Great Grandmaster attainment level. What? Not yet, Fang Yuan replied. Even if you are not a Great Grandmaster, you are at least quasi-Great Grandmaster. Chu Du said with much self-confidence. Fang Yuan laughed, asking instead, how did you know? Chu Du chuckled. I deduced it from your performance with the Dao marks. The higher your attainment level, the easier it is to explore Crazed Demon Cave. Not Immortal was shocked by my improvement, that was because I had recently attained a qualitative improvement in my strength path attainment level. Chu Du stared at Fang Yuan, his gaze contained deep meaning. Fang Yuan knew that he was trying to ask about the killer move Immortal Tribulation Tempering Aperture. After all, Chu Du was only using Calamity Beckoning Immortal GU to gain some benefits from Fang Yuan. The core method that could draw out Reckless Savage's true meaning had been kept secret by Fang Yuan, he did not reveal any of it. Fang Yuan knew what Chu Du was trying to ask, but he pretended not to know, saying, oh, I see. After saying those 3 words, there was no follow-up, they continued traveling quietly. Disappointment flashed deep in Chu Du's eyes. He had been desiring Immortal Tribulation Tempering Aperture all along, but in this situation, that was no longer the focus. Thus, Chu Du asked very vaguely, he knew that a clever person like Fang Yuan would understand what he was trying to say. But Fang Yuan replied with 3 words, oh, I see. Chu Du immediately understood, Fang Yuan had rejected him. Like how Chu Du asked very subtly, Fang Yuan's answer was the same. Oh, I see, it meant that Fang Yuan's method to draw out true meaning was not for sale, he rejected a transaction. I can only forget about it for now. Chu Du felt it was a pity, but he was very rational. In this situation, he had to deepen his cooperation with Fang Yuan, he could not worsen their relationship. Fang Yuan did not return to Heifan Grotto Heaven with Chu Du. Halfway through the journey, he parted with Chu Du. Fang Yuan flew towards the southwest direction. Some days later, he landed on an ordinary-looking mound. According to Shui Songzi's memories, this is the place. Fang Yuan looked around, confirming that he had arrived at the right place. He started to activate his Immortal GU. After a while, the Immortal Killer move activated successfully, and he found the location of a blessed land accurately. His Immortal GU and Immortal Killer move were borrowed from Heavenly Lord Bai Zhu. For this, he paid a huge price. However, it was completely worth it for Fang Yuan. Found it. Fang Yuan's eyes shined, he summoned the Upper Extreme Heavenly Eagle. The Upper Extreme Heavenly Eagle carried Fang Yuan and flew in a circle a few times, before piercing through space and bringing him into a new blessed land. The owner of this blessed land had cultivated Earth Path during his life, thus, this blessed land was covered in black rotten mud. Many small mud monsters were rolling around here. From time to time, a desolate beast giant mud monster would jump up from the soil, like a huge black tidal wave. A small mudman with a green strand of grass coming from its head floated and came to Fang Yuan. Bababa, the small mudman spoke, talking to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan listened and understood what it was saying. He could not help but look at the mud below him, muttering, to become the owner of the blessed land, I need to defeat 5 desolate beast mud monsters at once. Hey, easy. The acknowledgement requirement of this Earth Path blessed land was difficult for most rank 6s. But for Fang Yuan, it was very simple. Fang Yuan was not unfamiliar with Earth Path. In fact, due to his previous life's experiences, his Earth Path attainment level was at master level. After annexing this Earth Path blessed land, his mini-western desert gained a huge swamp. For the following month, Fang Yuan went around everywhere, finding blessed lands and annexing them. The Upper Extreme Heavenly Eagle displayed immense value. Fang Yuan easily got into blessed lands to explore them. The information of these blessed lands was basically obtained from the GU Immortal souls that Fang Yuan captured. Dong Fang Chong Fan, Zheng Ling, Shui Songzi, and the 9 GU Immortals in Heifan Grotto Heaven, as well as the countless GU Immortal souls from the turbulent Flow Sea area, and of course, He Chenghu was alive. Counting them all, Fang Yuan had a large number of GU Immortal captives. These captives had been soul-searched many times, he obtained all of their intel. Fang Yuan's cultivation level rose tremendously, he skipped calamities and tribulations time and time again. The space and resources in the sovereign immortal aperture also increased each time he succeeded, rising time and time again. Fang Yuan had long since passed his first heavenly tribulation. By the time Fang Yuan returned to Langya Blessed Land, in this short period of time, he had already passed 2 heavenly tribulations. He was a rank 6 GU immortal who was only 3 earthly calamities away from his 3rd heavenly tribulation. Chapter 1190, Blood Plain Martial Competition. Northern Plains, Feng Xian Grotto Heaven. Rank 8 GU immortal Prince Feng Xian was silently sitting with his eyes shut. Flames were burning around him, light clothes fluttering in the sky, they were dazzling and brilliant, dancing like dragons or snakes, extraordinary. Right now, Prince Feng Xian opened his mouth, spitting out small pearls of flame. The pearls of flame grew with the wind, in a breath of time, they expanded to become orange-red fireballs with the size of a baby's head. The fireballs circled around Prince Feng Xian's body, flying up and down, left and right. Next, Prince Feng Xian opened his mouth again, spitting out another pearl of flame. A while later, Prince Feng Xian already had 8 fireballs around him, they were flying around, crashing into one another, they moved in a profound trail, circling around Prince Feng Xian endlessly. Right at this time, Prince Feng Xian suddenly opened his eyes. An unbelievably sharp light burst out from his eyes, it was extremely dazzling. Bam bam bam, the 8 fireballs self-detonated one by one, turning into flickers of flames, dissipating. I failed again, I did not manage to deduce any trace of Fang Yuan. Prince Feng Xian's eyes were shining, he stared at the fireballs that were gone. If his deduction succeeded, these flames would instantly draw Fang Yuan's location, as well as what he was doing. Evidently, Prince Feng Xian had failed once more. He learned nothing. I am not a Wisdom Path GU immortal after all, I was just mimicking Wisdom Path, I cannot deduce Fang Yuan's true location. Prince Feng Xian sighed. He was tasked to capture Fang Yuan, but the problem was, he had hidden himself too deeply. Most of the time, he was inside a blessed land and did not come out. As long as blessed lands and grotto heavens did not absorb fragments of the 9 heavens, they would be a completely different world isolated from the 5 regions, even Fairy Ziwei cannot deduce anything. Prince Feng Xian primarily cultivated fire path, he naturally could not. Of course, Fang Yuan would go outside as well. But he had familiar face and dark limit immortal GU. Together with his dark path Dao marks, Fang Yuan could conceal his traces every time he traveled. Lord Feng Xian, Gong tribe is here, they want to meet you. At this moment, a female GU immortal dressed in yellow came to the hall and reported. She was beautiful like a flower, she had watery eyes and peach-like lips, she was one of Prince Feng Xian's 2 female GU immortal attendants, Liao. Gong tribe is here, HMPH, Prince Feng Xian frowned, not meeting them. But Gong tribe's GU immortal brought the longevity edict. Liao hesitated. Prince Feng Xian smiled lightly, so what if they have the longevity edict? It can control the Huang Jin bloodline, but I am not one of them. Liao pouted. But Lord, did you forget, we are now spies inside Northern Plains. You are still a son-in-law of Gong tribe on the surface, an external supreme elder. If you defy the longevity edict openly, would it not be a problem? Ha ha ha, Prince Feng Xian laughed heartily. Liao, you are only half right. Longevity heaven is not to be underestimated, it is a rank 9 grotto heaven, it has giant sun immortal Venerable's foundation, and is unfathomably deep. It is simply like Central Continent's heavenly court in Northern Plains. But this time, Longevity Heaven sent orders to unite the Huang Jin tribes, all of the Righteous Path super forces are to attack Bai Zhu tribe. This is a unified battle of the Huang Jin tribes against outside forces. The collapse of 88 Truyong building, the creation of Bai Zhu tribe, as well as Chu sect, have stepped on Longevity Heaven's bottom line constantly. This time, Longevity Heaven will definitely not ask for my help, Yao Huang is their only choice. Prince Feng Xian analyzed it perfectly, Liao's eyes shone, but she did not understand. Then why did Gong tribe's GU Immortal bring the longevity edict here personally? Prince Feng Xian's eyes shined with cold light. These people from Gong tribe are trying to falsely use that authority, to use the longevity edict and deceive me into helping them. You also know about Gong tribe's objective, they are still dreaming of becoming the #1 righteous path force. So that's it, then we will not meet them. Liao smiled, showing her pearly white teeth, she had a beautiful smile, like the image of spring. It was all according to what Prince Feng Xian had analyzed. Several days later, the longevity edict was passed on to all of the Huangjin tribes, eventually ending up in Yao Huang's hands. Yao Huang used his old hands to receive the longevity edict, sighing deeply to himself. This longevity edict still ended up with me after all. To one who heard him mumbling, it may have seemed that Yao Huang was aware all along. The truth was that it was an obvious situation. Heavenly Lord Baizu was a rank 8 GU immortal. If the Northern Plains Righteous Path forces wanted to deal with Baizu tribe, they would need to have a rank 8 GU immortal to deal with Heavenly Lord Baizu. On the surface, out of the rank 8 GU immortals in Northern Plains, other than Heavenly Lord Baizu, old ancestor Shui who was in the demonic path, 5 Elements Grandmaster was a lone immortal and had invaded longevity heaven, he was already trapped inside Calamity Luck Altar. Only Prince Feng Xian and Yao Huang were left. Prince Feng Xian's identity was the biggest problem. He did not have the Huangjin bloodline, he was just a son-in-law of Gong tribe. If they relied on Prince Feng Xian and defeated Baizu tribe, would that not prove 5 Elements Grandmaster's point? The great Huangjin bloodline, descendants of giant sun immortal Venerable, could not rely on themselves to defeat a strong foe. Thus, for longevity heaven, there was only one person they could choose, the rank 8 refinement path GU immortal Yao Huang. In fact, Yao Huang really did not want to involve himself in this mess. Currently, he was very busy trying to refine resurrection from the dead immortal GU. He was severely interrupted. Yao Huang was in a bad mood. Ping, a soft sound echoed. Yao Huang threw the longevity edict onto the table casually. I should go talk to Heavenly Lord Baizu first. Yao Huang sighed, storing his immortal aperture and going to the outside world of Northern Plains, flying into White Heaven. A moment later, Heavenly Lord Baizu, who received Yao Huang's invitation, hesitated for a moment before deciding to meet with Yao Huang and discuss the matter. The two rank 8 GU immortals met in White Heaven and talked in secret. In fact, they were friends. Long ago, Heavenly Lord Baizu had considered creating Baizu tribe, thus, as a lone cultivator, he got very close to Yao Huang. Heavenly Lord Baizu wanted to be in the righteous path, but there were only 2 righteous path GU immortals. Prince Feng Xian did not originate from the righteous path, he stayed by himself and his relationship with Gong tribe was not good. Heavenly Lord Baizu could only have a goal of getting close to Yao Huang. Afterwards, Heavenly Lord Baizu and Yao Huang had fought against old ancestor Shuihu together. Even though they lost and caused old ancestor Shuihu's reputation to surge, this matter had brought Heavenly Lord Baizu and Yao Huang closer together. Thus, when they met, there was no animosity or anger. Friend, what do you think? Yao Huang smiled and asked. Sigh, it has gotten to this point, I'll tell you the truth, I did not expect this. Heavenly Lord Baizu waved his hand, he also felt very gloomy about the situation. His motive was very simple, he wanted to take down Heifan Grotto Heaven. But to think that Chu Du's battle strength and wits exceeded Heavenly Lord Baizu's expectations, it caused the situation to change and worsen. Heavenly Lord Baizu could not back out. Among which, the rumors and threats regarding Heavenly Lord Baizu in Northern Plains GU Immortal World were all spread by Chu Du and his subordinates. Heavenly Lord Baizu was aware of this. Anyone with a functioning brain knew. But now, in fact, Heavenly Lord Baizu and the culprit of the rumors, Chu Du had allied, to deal with the righteous path forces that he did not want to face. Heavenly Lord Baizu was also very helpless in the progression of this matter. Yao Huang saw Heavenly Lord Baizu's expression and deeply understood his feelings. Yao Huang pointed and smiled. Old friend, do you understand now? It is not easy to be the leader of a righteous path force. In many situations, even as rank 8 GU immortals, we cannot act freely. I used to envy your lone cultivator status. I also urged you not to create any righteous path force. Do you feel it now? I feel it. But I have worked hard for so long, it was not easy to get such results, I am not willing to give up just yet. Heavenly Lord Baizu said openly. Yao Huang was silent, before saying, I do not want to interfere in this matter either, but I cannot help it, Longevity Heaven's token is already in my hands. Heavenly Lord Baizu sighed deeply, he felt gladness but also sorrow in his heart. He was glad that his relationship with Yao Huang was close enough, but the sad thing was, he and Yao Huang were friends, but they had to fight. Even as rank 8 GU immortals, they could not decide this for themselves. Heavenly Lord Baizu sighed deeply, then we can only fight now. Yao tribe waved his hand, this is an eventual matter, we are not in a rush now. Even though I am in charge of this matter, Yao tribe is just one of the righteous path forces, I still have longevity heaven overseeing it. They are watching patiently now. Even if we fight, we cannot resolve this matter. In my opinion, we should let these juniors fight first, and rile them up. Heavenly Lord Baizu pondered and nodded. Then in that case, let's decide a date for a martial competition. Alright, Yao Huang thought. Blood Plain is a good choice of location, how about there? That is good, Heavenly Lord Baizu agreed instantly. The two GU Immortals talked for a while, deciding the matter of the Blood Plain martial competition, before leaving White Heaven and going back to their tribes. They gave their respective instructions on the Blood Plain martial competition. At once, Northern Plains GU Immortal world went into commotion again. A new storm was brewing, it faintly swept through the entire Northern Plains GU Immortal world. The GU Immortals from the Huang Jin tribes were rubbing their hands together in anticipation. They felt that they had sufficient strength to suppress the allied forces of Baizu tribe and Chu sect. They had high morale. In terms of foundation, the allied forces of Chu sect and Baizu tribe could not match the alliance of the Righteous Path forces, but they could seek help. Heavenly Lord Baizu was from the Lone Cultivator faction, while Chu Du was a famous expert in the demonic path. There was still some time until the competition. News of the Blood Plain martial competition had spread, even Central Continent and the other regions heard of it. Both sides were gathering strength, the Righteous Path Huang Jin tribes were choosing carefully, only picking the elites, while Baizu tribe and Chu sect started recruiting for experts to help them, making great preparations. Chapter 1191, Begging. Central Continent, deep in Earth Abyss. Delicious wine and food was set out in the garden. Come, Brother Shi, I have heard that you like delicious wine. I have purposely looked for these wines for you to taste. GU Immortal Yang Feng sat upright as he stretched out his arm towards his esteemed guest. This guest had short white hair and shining golden eyes with sharp light in them. He wore a tight martial uniform and had a blue-silver belt. His forearms and knees had dazzling armor. He had broad shoulders and a slim waist. He was emitting a valiant aura. But he was half leaning on the wall and had a casual posture. It lifted a bit of the pressure that he was emitting. GU Immortal Yang Feng was a rank 7 transformation path GU Immortal, an expert in ancient soul sect of the 10 great ancient sects, but compared to his guest, he was inferior in fame. Because this guest was Shi Lei, he cultivated earth path primarily and transformation path secondarily. He was at the peak of rank 7, he was an expert of Central Continent known as the Immortal Monkey King. Then I will not stand on ceremony. Shi Lei laughed, he stretched out his arm, lifting the wine vat on the table. Breaking the seal, the smell of liquor burst out, it felt like an intense flame had started raging. Instantly, in the huge garden, it was filled with the smell of thick alcohol. The alcohol was red in color, the vapor gathered around the vat, resembling a bright cloud of flames. Shi Lei saw this and became joyful, praising, good wine. So this is the legendary Red Emperor wine. Brother Yang Feng, you could actually get your hands on this, you are quite impressive. GU Immortal Yang Feng laughed loudly, I'll not hide it from Brother Shi, I paid a huge price to obtain it from Ancient Soul Sect's treasury. Come to speak of it, this was thanks to our ancestor. 300,000 years ago, a GU Immortal from our sect became friends with a GU Immortal of Eastern Sea, Wine Emperor. During the GU Refinement Path Convention, they competed in refining GU and agreed that whoever won would obtain the loser's creation. They fought for 81 days, having their respective victories, they were closely matched. This Red Emperor wine was created by Wine Emperor, he had lost it to our ancestor. Ancient Soul Sect of the 10 great ancient sects had ancient in its name. True to its name, the sect was very old, having the longest history among the 10 great ancient sects. 300,000 years ago, that was the medieval antiquity era. Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable, Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable, and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable appeared in succession during this era. A female GU Immortal, Shui Ni, founded Water Path and built Spirit Affinity House. It was also during this era. Oh, Shi Lei was intrigued. Wine Emperor, I know this person, he was a food path rank 8 expert, he was very famous in human history. His entire life's effort was in the creation of his 3 sovereign 5 emperor wines. Legend says that by combining these 8 wines, one can obtain the rank 8 Liquor Worm Immortal GU. Using this GU, one can turn rank 8 White Lychee Immortal Essence into rank 9 Yellow Apricot Immortal Essence. After this person died, he left his inheritance behind. Currently, there is the Eastern CGU Immortal Zui Xian Wang, who became the 137th inheritor. Brother Shi, you are so knowledgeable, I am impressed. Cheers. Yang Feng raised his wine cup. Shi Lei waved his hand instead. Drinking with a cup is not satisfying enough, let's drink from the vats directly. Okay, Brother Shi, you are very direct, I will do the same. Yang Feng patted the table, replying. But Shi Lei had just touched the vat when his movements paused, his expression changed as he looked outside. An information path Immortal Gu had appeared in the sky above the garden, it was flying around but did not land. Shi Lei's golden eyes shone. This is an Immortal Gu from my sect, Brother Yang, please let it in. This garden was not normal, it was exquisitely built, grand with white jade tiles, it was oozing with cold air, there were faint dragon roars heard occasionally, this was ancient soul sect's Immortal Gu house, Frost Dragon Manor. Yang Feng manipulated the Immortal Gu house, opening a path for the information path Immortal Gu to fly towards Shi Lei. After inspecting it, Shi Lei's expression changed slightly. Yang Feng could not ask about the sect matters, he raised his cup and savored the Red Emperor wine. To think that Shi Lei took the initiative. Northern Plains Gu Immortals are indeed battle maniacs, He tribe was just destroyed, and now they are starting to fight again. This time, the commotion is even bigger. All the Huang Jin tribes are ganging up to deal with the newly established alliance of Chu sect and Bai Zhu tribe. Chu sect, Yang Feng was confused. This is a newly created sect, do you know about Northern Plains Chu Du? I know a little, a strength path Gu Immortal, known as Domination Immortal. That's right, he created Chu sect. This person is not to be underestimated, he used Heifan Grotto Heaven to forcefully resist Heavenly Lord Baizu's invasion. He even nurtured many strength path Gu Immortals secretly, he has quite a force. Yang Feng frowned. After absorbing this information, he said, strength path is like the setting sun, it is nothing much. But this Chu sect is probably the first sect in Northern Plains, this Chu Du is so daring. That's right, Shi Lei said. This is a good show to watch. Both sides have agreed to hold a martial competition. Hee, Northern Plains is really exciting, they are fighting all the time, why was I not born in Northern Plains? Cough, cough, Shi Lei patted his own head. Oh, I nearly forgot. Heavenly Court has orders, we are to go and attack Star Form Blessed Land now. Why, Heavenly Court has already confirmed that Fang Yuan will not come. Yang Feng asked in surprise. As it turned out, after Ying Wuxie and the rest escaped from Heavenly Court, Fairy Ziwei had never given up on searching for Fang Yuan's traces. Fang Yuan's true body was not exposed yet, even Prince Feng Xian could not make any progress. But using some clues in her immense capabilities, Fairy Ziwei managed to forcefully deduce the existence of Starform Blessed Land. Starform Blessed Land was inside Earth Abyss, it was in ancient Soul Sect's territory. Fairy Ziwei specially asked Gu Immortal Shi Lei to complete a task. Shi Lei was a supreme elder of Combat Immortal Sect, ancient Soul Sect sent Yang Feng to cooperate with Shi Lei. Shi Lei was following orders, according to Fairy Ziwei's plan, he was waiting in ambush. The moment Fang Yuan returned to Starform Blessed Land, he would capture him immediately. But after waiting for so long, Fang Yuan did not even appear once. Not long ago, Starform Blessed Land faced calamity, Fang Yuan made up his mind and ignored it. Fairy Ziwei noticed Fang Yuan's determination and deduced that if Starform Blessed Land was kept intact, it would be of much help to Fang Yuan in the future. Thus, she decided to go ahead and order Shi Lei to destroy Starform Blessed Land. Spirit Affinity House, Lake Heart Mountain, Feng Jinhuang's accommodations. Senior sister, you are amazing, you could refine even this type of Gu. Qin Wan held the Gu with both hands as she cried out excitedly. Feng Jinhuang had snowy skin, her eyebrows were long and golden, her lips curled up as she smiled, this is nothing much. She had Dream Wings Immortal Gu, her refinement path attainment was now Grandmaster level. Refining a rank 3 mortal Gu was really nothing much. Senior sister, oh no. At this time, a Gu master ran over with a flustered look on her chubby face. Qin Wan was unhappy at her demeanor. Sun Yao, you are an elite disciple of Spirit Affinity House, how can you be so panicky? Feng Jinhuang smiled. No need to worry, I am here. Tell me, what happened? Sun Yao breathed in deeply as she said. That Zhao Lianyun is coming. What, Zhao Lianyun? Qin Wan's expression changed, she looked at Feng Jinhuang worriedly. Zhao Lianyun is an otherworldly demon, she has also inherited Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable's true inheritance, since she joined the sect, she had been your opponent. Zhao Lianyun wants to compete with senior sister over the next generation fairy position of Spirit Affinity House, why is she coming here to find you? Feng Jinhuang's smile gradually faded. I am not sure either, go, let's meet her and ask, wouldn't that answer our questions? The three left the room, meeting a girl. This girl was dressed in white, like a flower by the lake, She had long black silky hair with a worried look between her eyebrows. She had clear skin and pupils like they were fused with the night sky, expressing worry and anxiety. Such beauty was comparable to Feng Jinhuang. It was Zhao Lianyun. Junior sister Zhao, I wonder what business you have with me. Feng Jinhuang was the first to ask. Zhao Lianyun hesitated for a moment, determination shone in her eyes. Plop. At the next moment, she knelt down. Qin Wan and Sun Yao did not expect this, they gasped in shock. Feng Jinhuang was also quite shocked. Junior sister Zhao, why are you doing this? I really have no other alternatives. Please save Ma Hongyun. Zhao Lianyun said, as tears flowed down her smooth cheeks. Ma Hongyun, who is he? He asked you to come and beg me. Come, you can get up and tell me, don't kneel. Feng Jinhuang quickly walked forward, stretching out her arms to help Zhao Lianyun stand up. She had the magnanimity of a senior sister. Even though she and Zhao Lianyun were fiercely competing for the position of fairy, now that Zhao Lianyun was begging her, Feng Jinhuang did not look down on her, she offered to help her up instead. But Zhao Lianyun did not get up, she shook off Feng Jinhuang's hands, sobbing, right now, the only one who can help me is you, senior sister Feng Jinhuang. Southern border, Jiuyu village. Fang Yuan clenched his fists, gritting his teeth, he said to the two people sitting in front, Uncle, Aunt, you have already obtained the inheritance my parents left. Right now, I need some primeval stones, can't you help me? Aunt snorted, saying shrilly, that is not right, we did not take your parents' inheritance, they are with your brother. Your brother has a great aptitude, he has a far better future than you. I believe that your parents would do this too if they were still alive. Oh Fang Yuan, Uncle said in a calm and slow manner. I know what you are thinking, you want primeval stones to buy GU refinement materials and refine GU. But do you know how hard it is to refine GU? How big the risks are? You are simply too young. Don't bear such unrealistic thoughts, just do your part properly. With your C-grade aptitude, stop dreaming and live your life realistically. It was winter now. Inside the warm room, Fang Yuan's heart was ice cold. He had been standing on the spot. After a short silence, he said, I understand now. He turned around and walked out. Behind him, Aunt criticized sarcastically, leaving like this. Not even saying goodbye, he is truly polite. Uncle was smiling, saying in a fake tone, Oh Fang Yuan, don't be so anxious to leave, stay for dinner. Fang Yuan did not stop, he walked even faster with firmer steps. From his uncle and aunt's place, he went towards the streets with many people. It was late at night now. Even though there was no snow, the cold air gave Fang Yuan a bone-chilling feeling. Next, he looked up at the sky, clenching his fists. In the sky, countless stars were shining brightly. Starlight reflected in Fang Yuan's pupils, his eyes seemed to be shining with life. Since I transmigrated to this world, I must achieve something in life, so what if I have C-grade aptitude, I can definitely succeed. Fang Yuan did not see that behind him, a figure was quietly tailing him, watching all the events unfold. The stars in the night sky were shining even more brightly, this figure's appearance became clear. It was another Fang Yuan. But this Fang Yuan's appearance had changed completely, experience and maturity was also deep in his gaze. Under his supervision, the entire night sky, the entire dream realm faded, as if there was a thick layer of fog in the sky, gradually, everything vanished. In the real world, Fang Yuan opened his eyes slowly, muttering, to think that I could re-experience what happened in my previous life. Chapter 1192, Concession. Central Continent, Spirit Affinity House. Zhao Lianyun might be an otherworldly demon, but she has deep love in her. Feng Jinhuang's mother Fairy Bai Qing looked through the window, a very far distance away, focusing on Zhao Lianyun, who was still kneeling in the courtyard. Zhao Lianyun approached Feng Jinhuang and begged her to help save Ma Hongyun. Feng Jinhuang was lost. After asking, she learned about Zhao Lianyun and Ma Hongyun's heart-wrenching story. Zhao Lianyun was begging for help, but regardless of what Feng Jinhuang said, she seemed to be fixated on this, she refused to get up. Feng Jinhuang had no choice but to find her parents for help. Her mother was a rank 7 female immortal of Spirit Affinity House, Bai Qing, while her father was the famous Feng Juzhe. Feng Juzhe walked towards Fairy Bai Qing, he did not look at Zhao Lianyun, instead, he looked at the sky, saying plainly, Dear, can't you tell? Zhao Lianyun is guided by some people. Fairy Bai Qing's gaze flashed. Do you mean Shu Hao and Li Junying? Places with people will have competition for benefits. Spirit Affinity House had its internal conflicts too. Feng Juzhe was powerful. In the absence of rank 8s, he dominated the 10 great ancient sects, nobody could rival him. But this did not mean he had no opponents. Competition in this world did not just involve fighting and killing. Xu Hao and Li Junying were Feng Juzhe's main opponents in Spirit Affinity House. The two of them were married too. Among which, Xu Hao was a wisdom path Gu Immortal, while Li Junying was known as the illusory fairy. Her power was extraordinary. In the previous life, when Feng Juzhe died inside the thieving heaven True Inheritance's special space, these two immediately exerted pressure on Fairy Bai Qing and had a powerful stance. But afterwards, when Fang Yuan used Spring Autumn Cicada and ended up saving Feng Juzhe, history was changed. Feng Juzhe's return caused great pressure on Xu Hao and Li Junying. They were at a disadvantage. However, using Zhao Lianyun's influence, the two of them held their ground and were untouchable by even Feng Juzhe inside Spirit Affinity House. Hearing Fairy Bai Qing mention their names, Feng Juzhe admitted, "It is them. This was my mistake. Back then, I sent Xu Hao to complete the mission for the thieving heaven True Inheritance. I wanted to push them aside, but to think they actually benefited from it. Huang wants to be the next generation fairy. She was originally unmatched, but now, Zhao Lianyun appeared. As expected of an otherworldly demon, this woman is very intelligent and has a different perspective on many matters, yet she can get to the point and succeed in her unique methods. She is truly worthy of being Huang's opponent." This time, Zhao Lianyun is kneeling and begging for help. Xu Hao probably instigated this. Zhao Lianyun wants to save her lover. She has to fight for the position of fairy. That way, she would have enough authority to use Spirit Affinity House's power. If Huang gives in to her, she would give up being the fairy. But if she rejects her, it would breed trouble. Feng Juzhe analyzed deeply. He easily exposed Xu Hao's schemes. He was a sound path Gu Immortal, but he had incredible wits. He had a keen perception towards these internal conflicts. Fairy Bai Qing rolled her eyes, saying playfully, "Dear, why would I not understand these? Our Spirit Affinity House's signature Immortal Gu is love. Our sect values moving people through love. Xu Hao asked Zhao Lianyun to do this. He probably does not expect her to succeed. But after Zhao Lianyun is rejected by Huang, others would sympathize with her." "Ha ha ha, my dear, you are so smart. I was unduly worried." Feng Juzhe laughed. Xu Hao was trying so desperately to make Zhao Lianyun win and defeat Feng Jinhuang, and become the fairy of Spirit Affinity House. That way, he could use Zhao Lianyun's power to ally with others and oppose Feng Juzhe together. Xu Hao had a good plan. All along, Zhao Lianyun's identity as an otherworldly demon was her biggest obstacle in becoming Spirit Affinity House's fairy. Because people were more willing to believe in those who originated from a similar background. Zhao Lianyun, who came from another world, was ostracized and guarded against. But after this matter, Zhao Lianyun's image in Spirit Affinity House would completely transform in the eyes of everyone. Even though Zhao Lianyun was an otherworldly demon, she loved a man of the Gu world. For this man, she fought for the position of fairy. She was not a vicious or ambitious person. She was really pitiful. Nobody was helping her. Her lover was in Northern Plains. He might die any time. These lovebirds might never get together again. This time, Xu Hao made a good plan. No matter what decision Huang makes, she would still lose. In fact, to compete for the position of fairy, she has to reject Zhao Lianyun. Feng Juzhe said plainly. "Then we let her continue kneeling here?" Fairy Bai Qing asked. Feng Juzhe smiled. "No worries, she won't stay here for long. This is just a show." But Fairy Bai Qing shook her head. "I do not agree with this. Did you not see Zhao Lianyun's eyes? She is so determined and resolute. She is in deep agony. Do you think Xu Hao would tell her about the truth?" At this moment, Zhao Lianyun probably thinks that her only hope in saving her lover lies in Huang giving up this contest. She will definitely not give up. She will continue kneeling. Feng Juzhe did not speak. He looked at the sky. He still paid no attention to Zhao Lianyun. Feng Juzhe was a little regretful now. If he had known this, he would not have bought Zhao Lianyun back in the Northern Plains auction. Right now, she was Feng Jinhuang's greatest obstacle. Parents in this world still had the same wishes. They wanted their sons or daughters to succeed in life. Even Feng Juzhe with rank 8 battle strength was no exception from this. Even your mother pities Zhao Lianyun. "Oh Huang, we will not advise you this time. How will you deal with this?" Feng Juzhe was secretly anticipating as he waited. On the road to Lake Heart Mountain, Qin Wan kicked a rock along the path angrily. "This Zhao Lianyun is so annoying. Is this how you beg someone?" She wants you to give up the contest for the position of fairy, she has the nerves to say that. She is really shameless. But she really has no choice. She already explained that this is for the sake of her lover, Sun Yao mumbled. Yes, but even so, she cannot do this. Kneeling on the ground, refusing to get up, does she want us to beg her to get up? Seriously, oh, I am so angry. She even caused senior sister's home to be surrounded by spectators, causing you to be unable to go home, and have to roam out here. Qin Wan stomped, going crazy. However, she is really pitiful. I did not feel that last time, but hearing her words, I find that Zhao Lianyun is really kind too. Sun Yao shook her head. Hey, whose side are you on? You are speaking up for Zhao Lianyun. Qin Wan was furious as she pointed at Sun Yao. Senior sister is the most qualified person to be Spirit Affinity House's fairy, Zhao Lianyun is an outsider, how can she? And you, Sun Yao, correct your attitude. Did you forget about how senior sister has been taking care of us all along? You actually said such words, are you repaying kindness with enmity? No, I have no such intentions. I just think that she is pitiful, no matter what decision senior sister makes, I will support her. Sun Yao waved her hand, explaining. Qin Wan calmed down a little, she started worrying for Feng Jinhuang, senior sister must be troubled now. This Zhao Lianyun really posed a good problem. If we agree to her demand, we will give up the position of fairy. But if we don't, people will say that senior sister is heartless, and people will sympathize for Zhao Lianyun and acknowledge her. Most importantly, the contest for fairy is not just decided by our seniors, it also considers the view of our generation's disciples. Every generation's fairy in Spirit Affinity House has to be acknowledged by everyone. He. Walking in front, Feng Jinhuang suddenly laughed lightly to herself. She stopped walking. Qin Wan and Sun Yao realized that they were at the mountain slope that they usually went to. Feng Jinhuang stood on the slope, raising her head as she looked at the stars in the sky. Next, she spoke, I will not concede. Her tone was plain, but Sun Yao and Qin Wan could hear her unwavering determination. Feng Jinhuang's clear eyes reflected the light of the stars in the sky. Winds of the night blew, caressing her face as her hair fluttered in the sky. She continued, even though Zhao Lianyun is pitiful, the title of the next generation fairy is my goal. This is the path that I have decided on, I will not change it for the sake of others. Northern Plains, Langya blessed land, Fang Yuan was inside his own dream realm. Inside Qingmao Mountain again. In Jiuyu village, a young Fang Yuan was standing in front of Jiuyu clan leader. You want me to give in to Fang Zheng tomorrow on purpose? And lose to him? Fang Yuan stared with wide-opened eyes, growling. Jiuyu clan leader sighed. Fang Yuan, I understand that this is not your fault, Fang Zheng was the instigator. But you need to understand, he has been living under your shadow, unable to get free. He challenged you because his heart's inner desires are leading him to oppose you, to defeat you and break free from his childhood trauma, and obtain the heart of an expert. Fang Yuan lowered his head, gritting his teeth. Clan leader, since you looked for me in secret, that means I have the strength to defeat him. That's right, you took a debt and pawned all of your assets just to luckily succeed in refining that GU. This greatly raised your battle strength. But Fang Zheng has a great aptitude, he is taught by several elders, he has quite the skill, he just lacks some experience. Jiuyu clan elder said. A great aptitude he. Fang Yuan raised his head and looked at Jiuyu clan leader, smiling in a mocking manner. Your decision is? Jiuyu clan leader was expressionless, looking down at Fang Yuan imposingly. Fang Yuan turned around and walked away. His figure faded into the shadows. He left with one sentence, I'll do it. Jiuyu clan leader did not speak, his gaze became dark as he muttered to himself, he conceded so easily, he must have other ideas. To play it safe, I should preemptively weaken him first. Chapter 1193, Gongwan Ting. Dawn. When the first ray of sunlight shone, the flowers and grass were still wet with dew. A bloodthorn snake slithered out of its cavern after the unbearable cold night, greedily absorbing the warmth of the sunlight. Ordinary snakes were cold-blooded, but the bloodthorn snake's blood was warm. As its temperature rose, it gradually regained its nimbleness. It stretched out its body and flicked out its tongue, as it started to look for food. It needed to get enough food today and digest them to cope with the next cold night. In this world, all living beings were struggling and fighting for every aspect of survival. The appearance of the bloodthorn snake was terrifying, but its nature was gentle. It did not eat meat and it fed on blood jaspers. Its tongue darted in and out, and soon, it discovered its food. Blood jaspers were translucent, like rose stones, hanging on the tips of stalks of grass. It was the dew from flowers and plants which had certain probabilities of transforming under the rays of dawn. If this blood jasper managed to avoid the bloodthorn snake's hunt and endure through the cold nights, after 7 days and 7 nights, it would transform into a small rank 1 blood jasper GU. The bloodthorn snake quickly slithered over. Rustle, rustle. The dense shrubs were shaking continuously, showing traces of a line. Within several breaths of time, the bloodthorn snake crossed 1,000 steps of distance and neared this blood jasper. The snake's head rose and was about to devour this delectable food when suddenly, a loud explosion sounded from the horizon. The bloodthorn snake shook in fear, its whole body fell down to the ground without any trace of strength left. Boom, 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 explosions reverberated through the landscape like war drums. An enormous hall moved through the clouds and descended above this grassland, like the ruler of the world. This hall had a broad structure and magnificent appearance, with lightning snakes coiling around it and countless thunderbolts raining down beside it. Inside the hall, Gu laughed heartily. Sure enough, Loud Thunder Hall is extremely powerful. In this blood battle competition, my tribe has this hall to suppress the situation. We will definitely kill the enemies. Ha ha ha. He was a famous rank 7 Gu Immortal expert of Northern Plains Righteous Path, specializing in sound path and had impressive battle achievements. His battle strength stood at the same level as Guan Cho of Guan Tribe, unfettered scholar and Pai Shui Han. Gu had a small head and big belly, his body was disproportional, his eyeballs were popping out, while his limbs were dry as twigs. He had pale skin resembling a sick person, without any hint of blood in his face. Right now, Gu was controlling Loud Thunder Hall, experiencing the overflowing strength of this immortal Gu house. He was extremely excited. Along with Gu were several of tribe's Gu immortals. Among them, a girl did not conceal her frown, covering her ears as she shouted, "All right, Gu, stop using thunder sound. It is truly noisy. If you use it again, I will turn you into a toad." Gu, who had been in high spirits, heard the girl's threat. His demeanor immediately disappeared without a trace. "Great aunt, I made a mistake." He quickly turned around and bowed in apology. The girl waved her hand. "Little Gu, you need to behave. We can't stand out in this blood battle martial competition. Yao tribe, Guan tribe and Lu tribe are the ones nearer to Chu sect and Bai Zhu tribe. If we put too much effort, they will just watch from the sidelines and reap the benefits." "Yes, great aunt, you are right. I shall listen to great aunt's arrangement." Gu quickly patted his chest and assured. The other tribe Gu immortals almost could not hold back their laughter. According to bloodline seniority, this Gu immortal with the appearance of a little girl was indeed Gu's great aunt. The crucial point was that she was very powerful and had a trump card immortal killer move, which she had tested on Gu since he was young. The trauma on Gu was extremely huge from this, and he had developed a fear of his great aunt. Gong tribe's people are also coming. The girl suddenly turned around. Under the amplification of Loud Thunder Hall, her gaze easily pierced through an enormous distance, seeing another immortal Gu house. This immortal Gu house was similarly a hall. It was Gong tribe's Golden Dawn Hall, shining with brilliant golden radiance. When Gu saw a female Gu immortal standing at the entrance of the Golden Dawn Hall, he immediately frowned. Why is it her? This woman looked to be in her late 20s, she was clad in dazzling palace attire with the lower hems touching the ground, her black hair was tied up high with jade and gold ornaments. Her skin was snow white, her eyebrows slender, her gaze sharp, and her chest was voluptuous and perky. She looked stately and beautiful, giving a feeling that she could not be offended. "Gong Wanting," tribe's girl exclaimed in slight surprise, before quickly adding, "Come with me." Tribe's Gu immortals immediately flew out of Loud Thunder Hall and went up to the entrance of Golden Dawn Hall. The girl greeted first in a cordial tone, "Elder sister Wanting, hope you have been well." Gong Wanting lightly smiled. "Little sister Qian, good day to you." The two immortal Gu house stopped above Blood Plain. This was a rare scene in Northern Plains Gu immortal world. Next, the third immortal Gu house appeared, making this scene even more colorful. Divine Light Hall, Yao tribe's immortal Gu house. A Gu immortal of Yao tribe, Yao Yuan Ying, flew out of the immortal Gu house and greeted Gong Wanting first before greeting Qian. Gu could not help but secretly transmit his voice to Qian. "Great aunt, it looks like Gong tribe came prepared this time." Sending Gong Wanting over, even the current holder of the longevity edict, Yao tribe, is overwhelmed. Qian transmitted back her reply. Gong Wanting is Prince Feng Xian's official wife, who can dare to not respect her? Even if Yao Huang were to be present, he would also have to be somewhat courteous to her. But the person Yao tribe sent this time is actually Yao Yuanying. Her nature is gentle and she is not proficient in fighting and killing, but is specialized in healing. It seems Yao tribe also does not have the intention to put in much effort. Just looking at these GU immortals, one could have some clues to the thoughts of each tribe. Last time, Gong tribe had suffered the most in the battle at Iron Eagle Blessed Land. When Gong returned to the tribe, he had been punished. This time, Gong tribe wanted Prince Feng Xian to show up, but their ploy was seen through by Prince Feng Xian. Gong tribe could only choose the next best option, sending Gong Wanting. She was Prince Feng Xian's wife, she had rank 7 cultivation, with powerful battle strength, and was a genuine expert. Gong tribe's main objective this time was to revitalize their prestige. Yao tribe sent Yao Yuanying, a healing GU immortal who was not good at fighting, and she had been appointed by Yao Huang. Yao Huang was friends with Heavenly Lord Bai Zhu, so he came up with the Blood Battle Martial competition as an explanation to Longevity Heaven. His main focus was still on refining GU. Some combative GU immortals of Yao tribe had been suppressed by Yao Huang, and could only grit their teeth with nothing they could do about it. Nu tribe sent Nu Qian and Nu GU as the main forces. Nu Gu's nature was erratic and was very aggressive, while Nu Qian was stable, experienced and very reliable. The main thing was that she could restrain Nu Gu. However, Nu tribe also had the intention to forge ahead this time. So they did not stint on mobilizing the tribe's immortal GU house, Loud Thunder Hall. But the final decision was in Nu Qian's hands. Next, Huang Jin tribes appeared one after the other. Lu tribe, Yi Lui tribe, Chanyu tribe, Meng tribe, Yuan tribe, Nian tribe, Murong tribe, Guan tribe. A total of 11 Huang Jin tribes, super forces who ruled over territories, and had undisputed influence to Northern Plains GU Immortal World. There had been 2 more tribes previously. One was Dongfang tribe. It was a pity, Dongfang Chongfan made it flourish, and it also was destroyed because of the failure of his plan to resurrect. It could be said that Dongfang tribe rose because of Dongfang Chongfan, and also suffered their downfall at Dongfang Chongfan's hands. Another was He tribe. He tribe had many surviving GU immortals, but they were annexed by Bai Zhu tribe. Their tribe name was discarded and they no longer were acknowledged by other Huang Jin tribes, even being cast aside and disdained upon. Greetings to Fairy Gong Wanting. Like Yao tribe and Nu tribe, the GU immortals of different tribes also greeted Gong Wanting. Gong Wanting's own battle strength made her an undisputed leader of the righteous path, and more importantly was her status. She was Prince Feng Xian's wife. Even if she were immortal, just this status alone was worthy for these GU immortals to have such an attitude. Gong tribe actually sent Fairy Wanting over, such a ruthless move. They clearly want to suppress Yao tribe. Gong tribe's people like to look down on others. To be honest, I like Yao tribe a bit more. After all, Lord Yao Huang is of our Huang Jin bloodline. Each tribe's GU immortals acutely sensed the undercurrents in the righteous path forces. They were all secretly discussing, and looking forward to how Yao tribe would react. With Fairy Gong Wanting here, how could I, Yao Yuanying, command this edict? Beyond most of the GU immortals' expectations, Yao tribe's representative Yao Yuanying directly handed over the longevity edict. Gong Wanting, however, refused with a smile. Yao Yuanying offered a second time. Gong Wanting again refused, except her attitude had eased up by a lot. Yao Yuanying offered the third time, and only then did Gong Wanting accept, looking like she was forced to. And the moment she took it, she placed it at the center of the plaque on the entrance of Golden Dawn Hall. Gong Wanting then continued, "Everyone, please come inside the hall. My tribe has already prepared some light wine and delicacies." The immortals all accepted her invitation. Previously, Gong had also invited others, but no one gave him face. Gong Wanting, however, was different. All the immortals knew that behind her was Prince Feng Xian. Even though the rumors of marital discord between them had spread for a long time, the immortals could not be careless. Each tribe's immortals entered the hall. Yao tribe was seated first from the left side, because left had the highest status, followed by right and center. 1. Nu tribe was first from the right side because they had brought Loud Thunder Hall. Other tribes were arranged according to the strength of the forces that they sent over. Who could have thought such an arrangement would make one person extremely dissatisfied? Why is my Nian tribe last? Does Gong Wanting look down on us? Nian Pingji was outraged, as he transmitted his voice to the tribe's senior GU immortal beside him. Right now, it was not just Nian or Fu who came, but also Woodpath Gu Immortal Nian or Yifang. When he heard the words, he placed his aged hand on Nian or Pingji's shoulder, and spoke expectantly and with encouragement. Pingji, if you are dissatisfied, kill some opponents in the blood martial competition. At that time, when we mention changing our positions, no one will stop us, and it will also show our Nian or tribe's prestige. Elder Yifang, you are right. I will do so then. Nian or Pingji clenched his fists, his eyes brightened with a sharp luster. From the main seat in the middle, Gong Wanting was secretly observing everyone, and when she saw Nian or Pingji's expression, she smiled lightly in her mind. Chapter 1194. Not kneeling. The righteous path's immortals had just been sitting for a while, when lone and demonic immortals also appeared. A huge grey cloud was flying over, upon which domination immortal Chudu proudly stood at the front. Behind him were two battle formations. On one side were Hao Zhen, Cho Lao Wu, Li Si Chun, Immortal Wang and others. On the other side were Bai Zhu Ren, Bai Zhu Ling as well as some familiar faces of He tribe, among which the four top supreme elders were also there. The righteous path immortals' gazes went past the spacious entrance. Their glances swept through the enemy group of immortals, before they fixed their gazes on Chudu. Several breaths later, a Gu immortal laughed. Our righteous path shall win this battle, no doubt. What Chu sect and Bai Zhu tribe, such a lineup dares to provoke our Huangjin tribes? Haha, that makes sense. The way I see it, we only need to be slightly on guard against Chudu. The immortals talked happily, the atmosphere in the hall becoming relaxed. In contrast, Hao Zhen, Cho Lao Wu, Bai Zhu Ren and others looked gloomy and worried. One would just have to look at the situation and they would know it. The righteous path had brought out 3 immortal Gu houses. Loud Thunder Hall was to the right, Golden Dawn Hall was at the center, and Divine Light Hall was to the left. In contrast, Chudu's side only had a huge empty grey cloud below them. The stronger and weaker side was clear at a glance. The righteous path immortals were resting at ease with wines and delicacies inside the hall. But Chudu's side was standing amidst the wind, only able to watch. The righteous path immortals talked and laughed, their morale was high. In contrast, Chudu's side was silent. Only Chudu had a relaxed expression. He had both brains and brawn, he was extremely shrewd, and had already anticipated such a scene before this trip. Right now, he was not anxious, he looked at a Gu immortal beside him. This immortal was tall and thin, folding his arms across his chest, he had white brows and white hair, and had an extremely cold and aloof expression. Chudu transmitted his voice to him. Brother Shui, you have been in seclusion for a long time, tempering your abilities, and possess astonishing attainments, but you don't have reputation. Right now is the time to make your name known. I want to hand over the first battle to you. After this battle, I believe your name will not only be spread to the world, it will likely go down in history. The Gu immortal surnamed Shui heard this, and bright light shone in his eyes immediately. Last time, Brother Chu invited me to take action, but I was refining Gu and not able to come out. This time, I must make the world know of my, Shui Wuhen's, name. The Gu immortal named Shui transmitted his reply to Chudu, and then flew to the sky before hovering between the two sides. He still had his arms folded across his chest as he remained silent. Inside Golden Dawn Hall, the immortals pointed at Shui Wuhen and jokingly spoke, they sent some nameless junior to his death. Nian or Pingji was just about to stand up and take the fight, but was stopped by Nian or Yifang. Be patient, the enemy only has rank 6 cultivation and has no reputation. Killing him won't be enough to awe these immortals. No need to take this fight. Ah, Nian or Pingji thought for a moment and realized it was true, and did not get up. Who wants to take the first battle? From the main seat, Gong Wanting asked the group of immortals. A young Gu immortal stood up soon after. I, Yi Lui Xiaojin, am willing to take the fight. Gong Wanting hesitated for a moment. She was inwardly thinking. Domination immortal Chudu is an extraordinary person, he actually sent a nameless character for the first battle, they are definitely not someone ordinary. If our side gets careless and we lose the first battle, it won't be good. Yi Lui Xiaojin was also a young junior, and came to the blood battle competition under the company of his seniors. He was also like the enemy, he was still unknown and had not made a name for himself. At this time, Yi Lui tribe's Gu immortal Yi Lui Wei Hong smiled. This junior might only be rank 6, but he is talented in fighting and often pulls brilliant moves in battle. Even my tribe's first supreme elder has praised him repeatedly. Gong Wanting heard Yi Lui Wei Hong, it was not good to contradict and disregard him publicly, so she agreed, then we shall see Yi Lui tribe's valiance. I heed the command. This young Gu immortal turned around and walked out. When he passed by Nian tribe, he gave a deep glance at Nian Pingji with his golden eyes. Nian Pingji was provoked, and almost jumped up. But Yi Lui Xiaojin had already walked out the entrance. Nian Pingji had made his name in the battle at Iron Eagle Blessed Land, but many young righteous path Gu immortals were not willing to feel defeated. Yi Lui Xiaojin was one of them. This time, he also wanted to spread and establish his name through the Blood Battle Martial Competition. The Blood Battle Martial Competition's first battle was about to unfold under both sides' gazes. At the same time, far away at southern border, I have told you all the crucial information regarding Bai Shang Grotto Heaven. After a bloodline descendant of Bai Shang becomes a Gu immortal, this white form immortal snake can guide them to Bai Shang Grotto Heaven. But Bai Shang Grotto Heaven is filled with danger. Because Bai Shang of the Heaven surveying 5 Shangs is a demonic path Gu immortal, you need to be very careful when doing this. According to the information my shadow sect has gathered, Bai Shang was a man of his word, and hated people who went against his wish, and was extremely tyrannical in the way he did things. Only Gu immortals whose battle strength met his expectations could talk and associate with him. You cannot stubbornly charge ahead in this trip, you need to remember when to yield. Ying Wuxie carefully instructed Bai Ningbing. Shadow sect had already looked into the bet between the 5 Shangs for a long time, and wanted to meddle in it. But an opportune time and coincidences made this plan progress very slowly. Naturally, the main reason was because Shadow sect's full efforts were in refining sovereign immortal fetus Gu. Shadow sect recruited Bai Ningbing because they wanted to hit 2 birds with 1 stone. On one hand, they wanted to exploit her identity as a fate escapee, on the other hand, they were preparing to step into the bet. Bai Ningbing snorted. I know what to do. Ying Wuxie was unfazed, still smiling. All right, go then. Bai Ningbing quietly took out white form immortal snake. The white form immortal snake was slender and long, its whole body was covered in snow-white scales and it had a graceful physique. Its eyes were like jade, and on the 2 sides of its head were a pair of long whiskers, floating like celestial ribbons. It was a rank 5 mortal Gu and was very attached to Bai Ningbing, which was likely because it was attracted by her northern dark ice soul physique. Bai Ningbing began to activate her phantom aperture. The phantom aperture was illusory, but after it was activated, it turned from phantom to real. Shadow sect had stolen this method from Heavenly Court and had studied it until 50 to 60% completion, as such, it had many flaws. Because of this, Bai Ningbing could temporarily possess Gu immortal strength without undergoing tribulation. So she was only a false immortal. After leaving Shadow sect for a period of time, she had not been able to maintain her phantom aperture, causing it to lose many of its effects and have limited periods of use. Ordinarily, Bai Ningbing would be in her mortal body, turning into a woman. After her phantom aperture was activated, she would turn into a temporary false immortal. The effect of the mortal Gu would be suppressed at this time and her body would return to that of a man's. Sometimes a man, sometimes a woman. Bai Ningbing herself felt awkward. However, among the immortals present, no one joked about it. Tai Bai Yunsheng was kind-hearted, He Lu Lan was fierce and ambitious, and did not care about these details. She knew was actually rather nervous. After all, Bai Ningbing's success or failure would be of huge influence to Shadow sect's following actions. Bai Ningbing began to release his Gu immortal aura. The white form immortal snake sensed this, its whole body jolted before it gave a long hiss towards the sky. Its hissing was completely different from the sharp hiss of normal snake species, carrying a resounding and mighty aura. Then, the white form immortal snake flew under Bai Ningbing's feet of its own accord, carrying him and flying towards the sky. He Lu Lan, Ying Wuxie and the rest stood at their spots, looking at this sight. They could not go as they did not have Bai Zhang's bloodline, and would only make things worse if they went. Everything now depended on Bai Ningbing. Fortunately, to raise Bai Ningbing's success rate, Ying Wuxie and the rest of the group had gone to Jade Pot Mountain and gave Ice Soul Immortal Gu to Bai Ningbing. Bai Ningbing had his first truly owned immortal Gu. He looked down while standing on the white form immortal snake's back. However, when he saw the mountain ranges and the heavy fog, he suddenly recalled a scene back in Bai tribe. That was his first encounter with the white form immortal snake. The spirit spring was raging like boiling water. All of a sudden, the spring water rose up like a tidal wave. After it reached a certain height, the spirit spring scattered and splashed in all directions. The white form immortal snake flew out. I pay respects to great immortal. Bai clan leader emotionally knelt on the ground, and at the same time anxiously urged, Bai Ningbing, why are you not kneeling down? I will never kneel before a Gu. Bai Ningbing coldly snorted, his body standing upright and tall. Although the white form Immortal Snake Gu released an ethereal cold grandeur with heavy killing intent concealed within, Bai Ningbing was not the least bit afraid. His two blue eyes directly stared at its snake eyes. According to the clan's secret records, once a Gu master obtains approval, the white form Immortal Snake Gu would fly with the inheritor and open a secret place in the sky. So, this so-called secret was Bai Zhang's grotto heaven. And the condition to receive approval was to become a Gu immortal. The question from a long time ago finally cleared up at this time. Unknowingly, I have already reached this stage. Bai Ningbing took a deep breath in, his blue eyes gazing high. Success or failure does not matter, I only hope Bai Shang Grotto Heaven won't be too boring, this trip should be splendid. Langya Blessed Land, inside a secret room in a cloud city. Fang Yuan lightly let out a breath of air. In his hand was a dream path mortal Gu that had just been refined, and was still giving off warmth. His cultivation was still at rank 6 second heavenly tribulation level and had stopped here for the moment, unable to be raised. Because he had almost annexed all the blessed lands in his memories. There were still some remaining, but he could not annex those blessed lands because of his attainment level. Ever since he realized that dream realms provided incomparable help to this style of cultivation, he had immersed himself in refining dream path mortal Gu these last days. These mortal Gu, when paired up with Unravel Mystery Immortal Gu, could form the immortal killer move Unravel Dream. With this killer move, Fang Yuan could easily solve dream realms and unravel them, raising his attainment in many paths. With Unravel Dream raising his attainment level, Fang Yuan could annex even more immortal apertures. After annexing blessed lands, his cultivation level would soar up, causing his battle strength to surge. After his battle strength surged, killing would become easier and he could obtain even more blessed lands. It would then form a feedback loop of constant benefits. Do not bother mentioning bullshit like whether killing is against morality or how it would influence one's reputation. Demonic Path Gu immortals were direct and straightforward in this aspect. Fang Yuan had never thought of himself as a good person. The blood battle martial competition should have begun. I should participate a few times, kill a few Gu immortals and seize their immortal apertures, taking the final step to becoming a rank 7 Gu immortal. Although Eastern Sea has city well, and there are many blessed lands in the well, it is too far away. Moreover, I have already been there once, heavens will already knows of it. It is better to continue refining Dream Path Mortal Gu while killing in the blood battle martial competition, it won't be too late to go after that. With this idea, Fang Yuan once again entered a dream realm. Verdant green trees grew in the rugged mountain path. A merchant caravan was traversing on the mountain path with difficulty. Fang Yuan was one of the members in the caravan. In the end, he did not yield and wanted to prove that with his ability, he could defeat his genius a great aptitude little brother. He also needed such evidence for himself. But Gu clan leader did not give him this opportunity. He personally schemed against Fang Yuan and used some sneaky moves, causing Fang Yuan to suffer an overwhelming defeat. Finally, he became someone who overestimated his ability, being cast aside and troubled by everyone. C-grade aptitude does not have any future. Even if you won against Gu Fang Zheng, so what? He has a great aptitude, the future of the whole tribe belongs to him. No, he is our tribe's future. As an elder brother, you truly don't have even a little tolerance, you are actually making things difficult for your little brother. Winner takes all. Victory or defeat was decided, right or wrong was thus overturned, black and white was blurred. Fang Yuan was on the verge of being exiled from the tribe, he could only join a merchant caravan, laboriously working while continuing his cultivation. Stop, I am tired. This carriage is too bumpy, let's rest for a while. A young man's voice came from a carriage. But young master, we are still a long way from the next village. We have already rested 3 times on the way, if we rest again, we won't be able to walk out of this mountain before the sky gets dark. A steward of the merchant caravan stood outside the carriage, and spoke with a bowed waist. Ping, there was a sharp sound as a lightning whip instantly landed on the steward's body, sending him flying. What did you say? This caravan is my clan's, I have complete management rights over it. You lowly servant, you dare to lecture me? The carriage's curtain was raised up, and a malevolent-looking young Gu master walked out from within. This servant deserves to die, this servant deserves to die. The steward kowtowed continuously. The whole caravan stopped. From ahead came questions. What is happening behind? Questions came from behind as well. What is going on ahead? Feeling countless gazes at him, the young Gu master frowned, as he shouted, what are you looking at, you bunch of lazy slaves? If you look at me again, I will dig out your eyes. Fang Yuan quickly lowered his head. You, yes you. The young GU master suddenly pointed at Fang Yuan. Come over, kneel down, be a stool for this master. This is your honor, I want to rest outside for a while. Fang Yuan raised his head, staring at the young GU master with pursed lips. I won't kneel. What? The young GU master could not believe it, almost thinking he had misheard it. What did you say just now? You won't kneel. His finger that was pointing at Fang Yuan was slightly shaking. His expression was exaggerated, as if he had heard a joke. Haha, you won't kneel. You are an ant-like slave, you still won't kneel. He then heard Fang Yuan's words again. No, I won't kneel. Chapter 1195, Young. Junior, take this move. Lu Wei shouted, a powerful aura erupting from his whole body. He raised his arms above his head, a grand radiance rose up from his body and rapidly condensed into a crescent moon in the air. The crescent moon was thin and long, it was pale white but covered in a gray halo. Good. Elder Lu Wei finally got the chance to use his move, Gray Rock Moon. This move is a well-known method of Lu Wei. That's right, those that are struck by this move will start solidifying before finally turning into stone. Even their immortal aperture will also be contaminated, turning rocky. It is a truly troublesome move. Inside Golden Dawn Hall, Righteous Path GU Immortals were discussing with smiles on their faces. On the demonic path's side, Shui Wuhen was only illuminated by the gray moonlight for several breaths of time before his expression changed greatly. He immediately felt the power of this move, and did not dare to be rash as he quickly used an immortal killer move. Strong cold aura coiled around his whole body, ice and frost attaching to his body. The gray moonlight turned the ice and frost to stone, but the ice and frost regenerated themselves. The gray moonlight was unable to penetrate through them and reach Shui Wuhen's body. What? He actually used an offensive killer move on his own body. Amazing. Shui Wuhen handled such a complicated thing with ease, he is quite clever. For the moment, he has blocked old Lu Hui's signature trump card. Go, beat him. The immortals in Chu Du's side cheered and applauded loudly. By contrast, the relaxed mood inside Golden Dawn Hall had now completely dissipated, and a bad feeling rose up in everyone's hearts. We are not going to lose to Shui Wuhen again, right? Even Elder Lu Wei cannot hold him down. Shui Wuhen is an unknown character, while Elder Lu Wei is a renowned rank 6 expert. As the immortals talked, Shui Wuhen wore the heavy layer of stone and frost, and charged towards Elder Lu Wei. Old geezer, you are so old, what are you doing not resting at home? Just die. Shui Wuhen pushed both his hands forward, instantly a wave of snow and frost rose up in the air. The Righteous Path GU Immortal, Elder Lu Wei, had to maintain the gray crescent moon in the sky. His hands were raised as if he was supporting the sky, he could not move and was directly submerged by this wave of snow. Shui Wuhen won. Lu Wei died. Everyone was surprised, they had not expected such an outcome. Before this battle, Shui Wuhen had already won 2 consecutive battles, he was injured and not in his best condition. In the previous 2 battles, he battled against Righteous Path Juniors, and could not kill the opponent. But now in this 3rd battle, he killed Lu Wei. The Grand Lu Wei actually died at the hands of a nameless demonic path minor character. Heavens, this is unbelievable. This person might only have rank 6 cultivation, but he truly has rank 7 battle strength. Where did this guy come from? I can't help but think of old ancestor Shui Hu. This Shui Wuhen is similarly of ice and snow path, he truly resembles old ancestor Shui Hu when he was young. He is still far from being qualified to compare to old ancestor Shui Hu. But 3 victories in 3 consecutive battles, his name will spread throughout the whole GU Immortal world. Whether it be the Righteous Path or Chu Du's side, they were both discussing Shui Wuhen. Xiao Jin, don't put your loss to heart. This is not your fault, but the opponent being too strong. He actually killed Lu Wei. Sigh. Yi Lui Wei Hong consoled the young man beside him. Yi Lui Xiao Jin felt his right arm. His right arm was currently still in a frozen state, his whole arm had already turned black and blue from the cold, the intense chill was even affecting his bones and blood. Yi Lui Xiao Jin felt such pain that after his defeat, he returned to the hall and had his head lowered the whole time. As for Yi Lui Wei Hong's words, he did not seem to have heard them. Yi Lui Wei Hong saw this, and sighed inwardly, you are still young. But this setback will be beneficial to you. This shame will make you try harder, who can say what will happen in the future? Maybe your future achievements will be above them. The main thing is to not lose the confidence in yourself. As he thought of this, Yi Lui Wei Hong gazed at Shui Wuhen, who was standing alone in the air, and then at Nian Pingji, who was unable to stay still. Can I go fight now? Nian Pingji impatiently transmitted his voice to his senior, Nian Yifang. However, Nian Yifang shook his head. This person has won 3 battles, there are many injuries on him and his state is not at its peak. If you kill him, it would be nothing extraordinary, but if you can't kill him, it would instead weaken your prestige. Moreover, the other side is not foolish, why would they let Shui Wuhen continue fighting? Sure enough, the next moment, Chu Du spoke, withdrawing Shui Wuhen from the battle. Nian Pingji snorted. Even if he does not battle, I will go up. He won 3 battles, I will win at least 6 battles. Nian Pingji rose up and bowed to Gong Wanting. I request to go to battle. Gong Wanting's frown relaxed a little. The righteous path, which should have been victorious, was instead defeated thrice by a nameless character from Chu Du's side. This was not only a heavy blow to the righteous path GU Immortals, it harmed their reputation and was also damaging to Gong Wanting's prestige. Gong Wanting knew Nian Pingji was Nian tribe's current generation sword child, she naturally had no reason to not permit him. Nian Pingji took the stage, and shouted, who wants to die? The rising morale of Chu Du's side immediately stifled. Careful, don't be fooled by this kid's rank 6 cultivation, he can kill rank 7s. He made outstanding battle achievements in the Battle of Iron Eagle Blessed Land, he is also extremely savage, killing multiple GU Immortals. Even old monster corpse poison could not do anything about him. He is the current inheritor of Sword Saint Nian Er's true inheritance, he naturally is not ordinary. Chu Du's side was silent. Facing Nian Pingji's challenge, there was actually no one who dared to accept for a period of time. Youngsters at the moment, each of them truly are fiercer than the other. Chu Du stroked his forehead. Big brother Chu, let me go handle him. Shui Wuhen requested. How could Chu Du permit it? He already saw Shui Wuhen's weak state, not only were there injuries on his body, many areas of his immortal aperture had even turned into rocks, causing losses to many resources as a result of Elder Lu Hui's immortal killer move. Relax, I have already made arrangements to deal with Pingji. Chu Du smiled, assuring Shui Wuhen. Granny Yin, I will hand this battle to you. Chu Du spoke to a black-robed GU Immortal behind him. This GU Immortal with a hunched back was holding a walking stick, and had been silent the whole time. Hearing Chu Du's words, terrifyingly bony hands stretched out of the wide sleeves and lifted up the hood, revealing an old, crooked face. He, let this old woman love you tenderly. Granny Yin flew to the battle, and stared at the young Nian Pingji with her turbid yellow eyes, which flickered with dangerous light. What, she is the rank 7 demonic GU Immortal Granny Yin. Chu Du is shameless, our side's Nian Pingji is only a rank 6 GU Immortal, they are actually sending a higher rank expert famous in Northern Plains. This won't do, call back Nian Pingji. Nian Yifang was also very anxious. Nian Pingji was a future star of Nian tribe who was heavily nurtured, and Nian Yifang was in charge of his safety in this trip. If he died here, Nian Yifang would have greatly neglected his duty. However, Nian Pingji's fighting intent burned even stronger when facing a strong opponent. He held towards the sky, and disregarding the crazed voice transmission of Nian Yifang, he turned into an incomparably sharp sword light that charged towards Granny Yin. Snowy Mountain, first peak. Now that I mention it, you need to be thankful to me. Haven't you discovered, your cultivation has risen and is going to reach rank 5. Lady Wan Shou said to Ma Hongyun, while holding a ball of lightning. Ma Hongyun shouted madly and hysterically, you insane lunatic. You still want to shock me, you have tormented me so many times, you still want to continue. I don't want this cultivation, please let me go. Lady Wan Shou sneered, impossible. She then sent out the ball of lightning. Crack crack crack. Ma Hongyun's whole body shook, his eyes rolled over, his mouth occasionally opened wide, occasionally pursed up and occasionally turned into O shape, but all the time, he was shouting. Ah ooh erg, he screamed until the lightning completely dissipated. Failed again, this guy. Lady Wan Shou's face looked extremely gloomy, she fiercely slapped Ma Hongyun's cheek. Ma Hongyun instantly fainted from the slap. Central Continent, Spirit Affinity House. Heavy rain poured down, causing the sky to darken. Zhao Lianyun was drenched, her vision was blurry and intense dizziness was threatening to make her unconscious. But she firmly held on, using every bit of strength in her body. Although she was an otherworldly demon with memories of a previous world, she did not have much understanding of the upper levels of the GU world, especially of the mindsets of GU immortals, whom she had rarely been able to associate with. As far as she was concerned, this was the only way to save Ma Hongyun. This otherworldly demon is indeed somewhat foolish. Li Junying had been observing secretly. Xu Hao shook his head. I also had not expected her to be so persistent. It has already been over 10 days now. Li Junying turned back and looked at her husband. Have you thought about it? Feng Jinhuang can use this to make a countering scheme against us, requesting Zhao Lianyun to give up on contending for the position of fairy, and then she will help save her lover. Xu Hao smiled. How could that be? According to Feng Jinhuang's nature, she absolutely would not be able to do such a thing. These two are still young. Inside a dream, southern border. OWWW, it hurts, it hurts. Fang Yuan screamed in pain. Kid, you know pain now. If you had knelt, you would not have had to experience this pain. A middle-aged man with a big beard was holding a GU worm in his hand, healing Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan raised his head and clenched his right fist. Uncle, what are you saying? A man only kneels to their parents, heaven and earth, how can we kneel at someone's order? Even if I die, I won't kneel. Not cherishing life, it seems healing you was completely in vain. I should not have done it. Big Beard suddenly became moody. HMPH, I didn't ask you to heal me. Fang Yuan endured the pain and stood up, walking out of this tent without looking back. However, he fell down to the ground after taking just a few steps. The intense pain sent him unconscious. When he woke up again, he found he was still inside Big Beard's tent. Oh you are still too young. Big Beard took a gulp of wine. I have healed half of your injuries, and have left the other half as a lesson. Fang Yuan grumbled, weakly retorting, Uncle, thank you. But I have told you, this is not about being young, this is a matter of principles. Chapter 1196, Sword Heart Clarity. Above Blood Plain. Nian Erpingji and Granny Yin's battle had attracted everyone's attention. Granny Yin was a veteran demonic path GU immortal, she cultivated soul path and possessed bewitching soul immortal GU, and her reputation had already been established long ago in northern plains. She moved like a ghost, gloomy winds surged and vengeful souls moved around her, sending chills down people's hearts. And Nian Erpingji was a shining member of the righteous path's younger generation, the current sword child of Nian Er tribe. His movement was quick and his sword moved like lightning. Both sides had exchanged dozens of moves. At first they probed each other with mortal killer moves, then they used immortal GU, then immortal killer moves, and now the battle was at a very heated stage. On the field, dark souls had covered most of the sky. And the white sword light representing Nian Erpingji was already surrounded. Despite it charging everywhere and the dark souls moving away, the overall flow of the battle was dictated by Granny Yin. Granny Yin is indeed a demonic path expert, the way she fights is steady and full of experience. Immortal Wang praised. Chu Du, however, frowned, silent. He was inwardly thinking, Granny Yin is a rank 7 GU immortal, but she was not able to immediately kill Nian Erpingji. Even though the situation looks more inclined towards her, Nian Erpingji's sword light is still rampaging around without the slightest of hesitation. He still is thinking of winning. Inside Golden Dawn Hall, seeing his tribe's shining hope, a sword path genius, falling into disadvantage, Nian Er Yifang was becoming nervous, staring at the battle without blinking. If the situation looked bad, he would immediately make a move and save Nian Erpingji. No matter the rules or reputation, as far as Nian Er tribe was concerned, Nian Erpingji being alive was most important. Hehehehe, such a tender body, you have nowhere to dodge now, except your death. A change suddenly happened at this instance. Countless vengeful ghosts suddenly covered all directions, as they surrounded the sword light that Nian Erpingji had transformed into. Then, Granny Yin revealed her true body from amidst the countless dark souls, stretching out her withered finger and pointing at Nian Erpingji from afar. Immortal killer move, bewitching soul art. Nian Erpingji's eyes immediately lost their light, the freely moving nimble sword light completely dissipated and turned into his true body. He was floating in the air like his mind had halted, not having the slightest bit of reaction to the charging Granny Yin. He. Granny Yin laughed in satisfaction. She opened her mouth wide, revealing her sparse yellow teeth. Her hand suddenly enlarged by many times, dark wind coiled around her 5 fingers, her nails as sharp as needles. The fan-like hand descended on Nian Erpingji's head. If this attack were to land true, Nian Erpingji's skull would no doubt be crushed under his defenseless state. Stop it, Nian Er Yifang shouted as he rushed out of Golden Dawn Hall. However, Chu Du had already made prior arrangements. He saw that Granny Yin was firmly grasping the battle situation, and had already considered if she were to make a killing strike towards Nian Erpingji, she would surely be obstructed by the righteous path GU immortals. Therefore, he had already arranged his forces to lie in wait. Sure enough, when Nian or Yifeng rushed out, Hao Zhen moved out shortly after. Shameless fellow, you are interfering in a one-on-one battle. Hao Zhen shot out a bolt of lightning right at Nian or Yifeng's face. Nian or Yifeng slightly shook, and emerald wooden armor appeared, covering his whole body firmly. This wooden armor was Nian or Yifeng's immortal killer move, and it had extremely powerful defense. Regardless of how sharp Hao Zhen's lightning was, it could not even make a dent on the wooden armor. Instead, the wooden armor seemed to be rejuvenated as it produced fresh yellow and green leaves, like it had received many benefits. Chu Du immediately gave out a light gasp. He was surprised. What made Chu Du surprised was not Nian or Yifeng's wooden armor, as his wooden armor was already famous in northern plains and was his self-created immortal killer move, Sick Tree Spring Armor. Instead, it was that Nian or Yifeng had rushed out madly to save Nian or Pingji. However, by using this move and blocking off Hao Zhen's lightning, he had missed the best opportunity to save Nian or Pingji. Chu Du considered what he would do in Nian or Yifeng's position. His tribe's genius, a star of the younger generation, was at risk of losing his life, while he himself could choose to either block the lightning or move to protect Nian or Pingji's life. But right now, Nian or Yifeng had chosen to protect himself. This action meant he did not feel it was urgent to save Nian or Pingji. What was going on? Oh no, Chu Du's heart suddenly jumped, and he quickly looked at the battle. He was just about to warn Granny Yin, but it was already too late. The sluggish-looking Nian or Pingji suddenly let out extremely sharp, mysterious light from his eyes. This change immediately froze Granny Yin's ecstatic laughter. Granny Yin's mind sent out warnings of danger. She wanted to get back to defend herself, but it was already late. An extremely stunning sword light flashed. Life and death, victory and loss, were determined within this moment of time. The dark souls were still hovering around, but Granny Yin was already starting to fall down, cut into two by the sword light. She was gazing at Nian or Pingji with an incredulous look on her face, unable to think of how he had suddenly gotten free from her signature trump card. Bewitching soul art is Granny Yin's proudest method, which she used when she roamed northern plains, but it was actually ineffective against Nian or Pingji. Chu Du and his group of immortals paled in shock. What's going on? Inside Golden Dawn Hall, the Righteous Path GU immortals were both surprised and joyous. This is Sword Heart Clarity. It is an immortal killer move in Sword Saint through inheritance, especially used to restrict Wisdom Path and other similar methods. Few of the Sword Childs in history could use it. Nian or Yifeng laughed heartily, not giving up this chance to increase Nian or tribe's prestige. Yi Lui Xiaojin could not help thinking, is he saying Nian or Pingji is outstanding even when placed among all the Sword Childs in history? He was a genius of Yi Lui tribe, but unfortunately had lost to Shui Wuhen. On the contrary, Nian or Pingji had killed the rank 7 demonic path expert Granny Yin. Comparing the two, it was clear for everyone who was better and who was worse. This Nian or Yifeng is truly crafty. He clearly knew Nian or Pingji's situation was of no concern, but still pretended to rush out in panic to save Nian or Pingji. Chou Laowu mumbled behind Chu Du, feeling indignant. One had to say Nian or Yifeng had acted really well. Because of his acting, the GU immortals of both sides had subconsciously thought Nian or Pingji was in absolute danger. Even Granny Yin was deceived. No, maybe it was Granny Yin who was too confident in her immortal killer move Bewitching Soul Art. Chu Du assessed internally, and this Nian or Pingji is also not just a brutish person, he actually pretended to be struck by the ability, deceiving Granny Yin. The killer move he used to kill Granny Yin is also not simple, it is terrifyingly powerful and also extremely fast, it is virtually impossible to guard against. It should be one sword life, an immortal killer move used by Sword Saint Nian in his younger days. Come back quickly. Nian Yifeng was in high spirits, but quickly and anxiously transmitted his voice to Nian Pingji. Nian Pingji had killed Granny Yin, but he had also suffered heavy injuries. He quickly retreated, but before leaving, he naturally brought the two halves of Granny Yin's body with him. One half of the corpse had Granny Yin's immortal aperture. This was Nian Pingji's spoils of battle. Chu Sect did not stop him, this was one of the rules stated in the competition agreement. It was like when Shui Wuhen who had stored away GU immortal Lu Hui's corpse. However, Shui Wuhen might have won 3 battles, but he only killed the rank 6 GU immortal Lu Wei. While Nian Pingji might have only won 1 battle, but he took a rank 7 demonic path GU immortal, Granny Yin's, life. Thus, the righteous path side was slightly leading. Chu Du was feeling the pressure. The slight dominance brought by Shui Wuhen had now been balanced out by Nian Pingji. Who should I send in this next battle? Chu Du was hesitating. Soon, the result of this battle reached Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan was still in Langya Blessed Land, cultivating. Nian Erpingji killed Granny Yin. Fang Yuan was only slightly surprised before he accepted this fact. There were many genius experts who were able to achieve the feat of winning against rank 7 with rank 6 cultivation. But using rank 7 cultivation to fight rank 8 was extremely rare. Nian Erpingji Fang Yuan did not have any impression of this person in his memories. After all, in his first life, Fang Yuan was still immortal around this time, and was not at all aware of the events in the GU Immortal World or Northern Plains GU Immortal World. What made Fang Yuan more interested was instead Shui Wuhen. Precisely speaking, it was the loot in Shui Wuhen's possession, that GU Immortal, Lu Hui's, Blessed Land. GU Immortal Lu Wei is an Earth Path GU Immortal who has gone through 2 heavenly tribulations. His blessed land is suitable for me to annex. With this, my cultivation can also rise and reach rank 7. As he thought of this, Fang Yuan immediately wrote a reply. He took the initiative to request for Chu Du's help in expressing his intention of buying the immortal aperture from Shui Wuhen. As for the invitation of Chu Du asking Fang Yuan to help, Fang Yuan used the reason of being in secluded cultivation to delay in a roundabout way. I need to raise my cultivation to rank 7 first, it won't be too late to join this blood battle martial competition then. Fang Yuan slightly shook his head, throwing the news of this blood battle martial competition to the back of his mind. The Chu Sect alliance agreement he had was rather lenient. Even if Chu Sect was annihilated, Fang Yuan could choose not to show up and it would not be a problem. Fang Yuan prioritized raising his cultivation, all the other things were secondary. Chu Du received Fang Yuan's reply. Fang Yuan did not come, which made Chu Du frown. Sigh, if Elder Lu Guanyi could come, I would not be in this difficult spot. Chu Du heaved a sigh. Shui Wuhen was standing beside Chu Du, and curiously asked when he heard Chu Du. Hearing Brother Chu's tone, it seems you hold this Elder Lu Guanyi in high esteem. Chu Du laughed. He had mentioned you in his letter, hoping you can sell Lu Hui's immortal aperture to him. Shui Wuhen shook his head. I could not get Lu Hui's immortal GU, but the resources inside the immortal aperture are my battle spoils. I don't know their value, so how can I sell them? His intention of refusal was extremely obvious. Chapter 1197, Sword Dragon Transformation. Chu Du smiled. Deep down, Shui Wuhen was someone he wanted to recruit to his Chu sect, so he had been giving him a lot of consideration. However, Fang Yuan was his collaboration partner. Later on he would have to get Reckless Savage's true meaning from Fang Yuan to raise his strength path attainment. Chu Du was well aware of which was more important. In his letter, Lu Guanyi entrusted me to accomplish this matter. Chu Du thought to himself, while transmitting his voice to Shui Wuhen, Brother Shui, collaborating with Elder Lu Guanyi is probably your best choice to get the resources in Lu Hui's aperture. How so? Shui Wuhen asked doubtfully. Because Elder Lu has an upper extreme heavenly eagle. This eagle can go into blessed lands. It is better for you take away the resources in the immortal aperture and give the immortal aperture to Elder Lu, making him add on some resources as the price. Isn't this a win-win situation? Chu Du replied. Shui Wuhen's eyes brightened. Upper extreme heavenly eagle. I have also heard of this immemorial beast. I did not expect Elder Lu Guanyi to have such a rare bird. Pausing for a while, Shui Wuhen continued his voice transmission. I am willing to transact with Elder Lu. Right as Fang Yuan's plan was about to succeed, a change happened. A GU Immortal walked out of Golden Dawn Hall. It is a Lu tribe GU Immortal, Lu Zhuanshen. Immortal Wang immediately recognized this person. He is coming down to fight. Chu Du's side cast their gazes. However, Lu Zhuanshen did not go to the stage, instead stopped at the entrance of Golden Dawn Hall. Lord Domination Immortal, my side is willing to use Granny Yin's corpse to exchange for Elder Lu Hui's corpse and soul. Lu Hui's corpse had ended up in enemy hands. Lu tribe's GU Immortals naturally were not willing to see such a scene. The corpse was still alright, the main thing was the soul. Lu Hui's soul had not been destroyed. Therefore, Lu tribe's GU Immortals wanted to get back Lu Hui's corpse and soul no matter what. However, Lu Zhuanshen did not have enough bargaining chips on him, and was also afraid that the other side would be very greedy and recklessly extort them. If so, then the situation would be quite awkward and they would be put on the spot. So, Lu Zhuanshen and the other Lu tribe GU Immortals felt anxious, but did not make a rash move. After Nian Erpingji killed Granny Yin, Lu tribe's GU Immortals saw hope in this matter. Lu Zhuanshen had thus communicated with Nian tribe, and after giving up many benefits, had exchanged for Granny Yin's corpse. An immortal aperture was inside Granny Yin's corpse, and for the moment, was unharmed. It was only that Granny Yin's soul was already destroyed by Nian Erpingji. Nian Erpingji had a tough victory and simply was unable to hold back. Granny Yin's soul was completely destroyed by the immortal killer move One Sword Life. However, as far as Lu tribe's GU immortals were concerned, Granny Yin was rank 7 while Lu Wei was only rank 6, this transaction was very likely to be accomplished. Chu Du's side heard these words, and there was immediately a stir among them, as they began to whisper to each other. Chu Du inwardly exclaimed, "Amazing, this Lu Zhuanshen has quite the ability, putting me in such a spot." Chu Du did not have to turn around to sense the disturbance among the GU immortals behind him. Granny Yin moved alone and had few relations with other GU immortals, most of her relationships were even hostile. Granny Yin had come this time only because of Chu Du's prestige and the rewards. However, Chu Du knew these GU immortals behind him hoped the two sides could exchange the corpses. The reason was that this blood battle martial competition had just begun. In the following battles, there might be GU immortals whose bodies and souls would perish in battle. If that was the case, so be it, since there was no body nor soul. But if they lost their life and their soul was left behind in the enemy's hands, what could they do? Under such a situation, they could only rely on their side's GU immortals to help retrieve their soul. If I agree to Lu Zhuanshen's request, I can stabilize these GU immortals' mindsets and lessen their worries. Otherwise, the morale will probably lower, which can seriously impact the following battles. Chu Du understood the importance of this matter. Most of the members of Chu sect and Bai Zhu tribe were lone immortals or demonic cultivators. They were not well united to begin with, they only took this risk because of the reputations of domination Immortal and Heavenly Lord Bai Zhu, as well as the rewards. If Chu Du were to refuse now, these GU immortals would probably be self-conscious and be on guard against each other. Chu Du hesitated for a while, apologizing to Lu Guanyi inwardly, before he spoke, agreeing to this transaction. Lu Zhuanshen was joyous, both sides exchanged the corpses. Shui Wuhen had lost a rank 6 Earth Path Immortal Aperture and GU Immortal Soul, but obtained a rank 7 Soul Path Immortal Aperture. While Chu Du had also secretly made it up to him with some Snow Path killer moves. So, he was quite happy with this result. Anyway, even if he interrogated Lu Hui's soul and obtained Earth Path killer moves, they would be useless to him. After both sides exchanged the corpses, Gong Wanting also saw the importance of this matter, and took the initiative to negotiate with Chu Du. Because of this event, both sides had thus conveniently added a rule in the blood battle martial competition regarding the exchange of corpses and soul captives. After a delay of half a day, both sides engaged in another battle. Chu Du's side sent a Bai Zhu tribe GU immortal, it was the previous He tribe supreme elder. The actual Bai Zhu bloodline members were still being taken care of. Before this trip, Chu Du had received Heavenly Lord Bai Zhu's instructions to protect as many Bai Zhu tribe descendants as possible. Because of this setback, Fang Yuan's plan went down the drain. Not long later, he received Chu Du's letter. The letter explained the reason in detail. Chu Du's tone was polite and even apologized to Fang Yuan for not fulfilling what he was entrusted with. Fang Yuan understood Chu Du's difficulty. He was standing in a GU refinement secret room, mumbling to himself, "I don't have a use for a Soul Path Immortal Aperture. It seems I still have to make a move personally and seize the Immortal Aperture that I want, and advance to rank 7. However, there were many forces in the blood battle martial competition. Although Fang Yuan had familiar face, he still needed some new offensive methods. After all, he had proclaimed to the outside world that he was a transformation path GU immortal. "I have Flying Bear Strength Immortal GU, but the power of the Flying Bear transformation is quite poor. Fortunately, I have been considering this beforehand and have many possible solutions now." Fang Yuan's gaze landed on the dragon corpse in front of him. This was a desolate beast. Its whole body was shining with silvery light, its horn was sharp as a spear, its eyes were pure white, its fangs and claws looked fearsome, many layers of scales covered its body emitting metallic luster. This was a silver-colored dragon. The whole body was 20 feet long, its body was slender and its shape was fluid and graceful. It was like a piece of art, but it emitted a dense cold feeling of sharpness, as if anyone who got close to it would be pierced through by the surrounding air. This was not a false feeling, but it was because this silver dragon with 2 claws was originally a sword path desolate beast, sword dragon. Now, it was already dead, its sword path Dao marks were gradually dissipating, merging into the surrounding environment. This was the transformation Fang Yuan had prepared to cultivate, sword dragon transformation. The killer move Sword Dragon transformation needs Dragon Scale GU, Dragon Horn GU, Dragon Claw GU, Dragon Eyes GU, and so on. If any one of the GU worms is an Immortal GU, then it becomes an Immortal killer move. But I have change form Immortal GU, this GU is one of the core essences of transformation path. Thus, I don't need to refine Immortal level Dragon Scale GU, Dragon Horn GU, Dragon Claw GU or Dragon Eyes GU, and only need to refine the Mortal GU versions, and use change form Immortal GU as the core, to form Immortal killer move Sword Dragon transformation. Transformation path killer moves were extremely simple. It could even be said to be rudimentary. This was one of the advantages of cultivating transformation path. Immortal killer moves of other paths were not easy to deduce, but transformation path was completely different in this aspect. Adding on that Fang Yuan himself was a wisdom path grandmaster, not only did he successfully deduce the contents of Sword Dragon transformation, but also improved on many aspects, making the transformation faster and nimbler. Naturally, GU Immortal Han Dong had a contribution in this. He was a transformation path GU Immortal who specialized in cultivating spirit snake transformation. A dragon had a similar body shape and battle style. Although Han Dong died and his soul had dissipated, he had left behind a land spirit which retained some of Han Dong's cultivation insights. It was enough for Fang Yuan to take as a reference. He started activating the GU refinement formation and began to refine this Desolate Beast Sword Dragon. The Desolate Beast Sword Dragon was full of sword path Dao marks and in itself was an immortal material which could be refined into Immortal GU. However, Fang Yuan's refinement path attainment was not particularly high, and with just this Sword Dragon, the immortal materials to refine the relevant Immortal GU were also not sufficient, so Fang Yuan was refining only Mortal GU to support change form Immortal GU. The refinement process went rather smoothly. Fang Yuan himself was a GU Immortal and was using precious immortal materials to refine some rank 5 Mortal GU. The success rate was naturally extremely high and could even be said to be quite easy. Some days later, Fang Yuan stood still and took in a deep breath. His mind was still. Suddenly, thoughts surged up like a storm, as GU worms started activating one after the other. In just a breath of time, Fang Yuan's whole body emitted piercing silvery radiance. After the silver light dissipated, an elegant and exquisite silver sword dragon that was emitting a feeling of sharpness appeared. The sword dragon's eyes were white, but they flashed with intelligence. It was Fang Yuan. Immortal killer move Sword Dragon transformation has already been refined. Next, Fang Yuan began to get familiar with his body, brandishing his claws and fangs, or flying in the sky. His practice drills went quite decently. It was because he had already begun cultivating transformation path. Not only the flying bear transformation, many times, he had used change form Immortal GU to transform into all kinds of appearances. Although they had not reached mastery, he could be said to be familiar with them. After thoroughly getting familiar with this form, Fang Yuan began to test the might of this immortal killer move. First was the expenditure of immortal essence. Very little. The expenditure of green grape immortal essence to maintain the sword dragon transformation was not high. After all, it only involved rank 6 change form Immortal GU. Next was his battle strength. Fang Yuan had already arranged immortal materials in front of him. First was a piece of 100 years profound ice. He swept at it with his claws. Fang Yuan felt like he had sliced into tofu. He easily smashed this profound ice into pieces. Next, Fang Yuan moved to the subterranean adamantite and clawed at it. Subterranean adamantite was among the hardest rank 6 immortal materials. It immediately showed a clear claw marking that reached a few inches deep. Fang Yuan was immediately aware of the limit of the power of his dragon claws. He did not need to test it on the rank 7 immortal material at the side. Chapter 1198, Dragon Breath. GU are the essence of heaven and earth. Man is the spirit of all living beings. Human intelligence was the highest among all the living beings. However, the way of heaven was to have balance. Humans were highest in intelligence, but their bodies were extremely fragile. Humans did not have sharp claws, fur, wings, or gills. The strength of humans might not be the weakest, but it was at the bottom tier. They were fundamentally unable to contest with typical desolate beasts. Human skin was no different from paper compared to desolate beasts. However, when Fang Yuan transformed into a desolate beast sword dragon, he obtained the qualities of a sword dragon. Although there was still a difference from a true sword dragon, he was already far beyond the limits of humans. The initial concept when transformation path was created was, study all living beings and add the advantages of those beings to one's own body. Humans did not have sharp claws, so transform human fingers into claws. Humans did not have fur, so transform one's hair into fur. If one is without wings, then create wings, and fly like the birds in the sky. If one has no gills, transform into a fish, and swim in the depths of the sea. Naturally, by the current era, the concept of transformation path was not limited to just this. Using one path to project every path had become transformation path's main principle, imitating the advantages of other paths. As time passed, there were bound to be improvements. The wheels of history would keep on turning forward. Ever since reckless savage demon Venerable created transformation path, this path had not declined and was passed down throughout human history. Moreover, new ideas replaced the old, causing it to thrive even now. Fang Yuan lightly stretched out his dragon body, flying to the rank 7 immortal material. This was a giant dark inkstone. Among rank 7 immortal materials, it was considered very firm and had the characteristic of being difficult to process. His dragon claws slashed at it, but were unable to leave any trace. Fang Yuan had already expected this, thus he did not use only his claws. Instead, he turned his body and suddenly whipped his tail. Ping! A sharp sound resounded as the dragon tail fiercely whipped at the dark inkstone. Pain could be felt from the dragon tail, causing Fang Yuan to take a sharp breath of cold air. While on the dark inkstone's surface, a thin crack appeared. Just based on the dragon tail's whip, it was more menacing than the claws. This was an attribute of the sword dragon. Many dragons' characteristics differed in subtle aspects. Some dragons had extremely sharp fangs, their strong bite power surpassing the power of their claws and tail. Some dragons were better at ripping, their claws were their most powerful weapons. And the sword dragon was slender and nimble, the power of its tail surpassed its two small claws. And above the power of its tail was the sword dragon's speed. Fang Yuan had already practiced it. The sword dragon was not powerful in long-distance attacks, but its burst of speed from an unmoving state was impressive. Although it could not compare to Sword Escape Immortal GU, it was not inferior to Fang Yuan's Blood Path movement killer move, Blood Torrent. Moreover, because it was the sword dragon's own innate movement speed, Fang Yuan could change directions much more nimbly than Blood Torrent, and it was much easier to maneuver as well. And the sword dragon's strongest weapon was its dragon breath. Dragons could breathe out attacks. This was almost an innate ability of any dragon. It was like the upper extreme heavenly eagle, having the innate ability to penetrate space and enter blessed lands and grotto heavens. It was just that the dragon's breath was a very common ability, while the upper extreme heavenly eagle's ability was rare. Upper extreme heavenly eagles were very rare. Rank 8 GU Immortal He Fan had also obtained one through a fortuitous encounter. Besides him, no one had obtained another upper extreme heavenly eagle in He tribe's history. Whoosh! Fang Yuan tested his dragon breath. In an instant, a white light flashed and shot at the rank 6 immortal material subterranean adamantite. The subterranean adamantite shook lightly before the dragon breath disappeared. The whole process was very fast, it was as if nothing had occurred. But the next moment, changes started to slowly appear in the subterranean adamantite. A clear crack appeared on the subterranean adamantite. The whole crack was incomparably straight, going from top to bottom in a slightly inclined angle. The subterranean adamantite was split into two by this thin crack. Then, due to the subterranean adamantite's enormous weight, the two halves fell down. Bam bam, two consecutive muffled sounds echoed. The boulder-sized subterranean adamantite had split into two and fallen to the ground. The cut surface was smooth, like it was directly split by the sharpest weapon in the world. Fang Yuan's dragon claws could only leave behind marks a few inches deep. But his dragon breath was incomparably sharp, cutting down this giant subterranean adamantite into two. It had to be known that subterranean adamantite was considered among the hardest rank 6 immortal materials. The might of the sword dragon's breath could be seen from this. Despite Fang Yuan being mentally prepared, upon seeing the two halves of the subterranean adamantite, he could not help slightly nodding his dragon head in satisfaction. Next, he continued to test. He used his dragon breath on the rank 7 immortal material Dark Inkstone. Dark Inkstone was even firmer than subterranean adamantite. The dragon breath was like sword light, cutting open marks several inches deep on the Dark Inkstone. Fang Yuan continuously breathed it out 16 times before he reached his limit. For a short period of time, he would not be able to send out his dragon breath. He felt like a traveler in a desert who had not drank water for over half a month. His throat was extremely dry. If he tried to use dragon breath anymore, he had the feeling he would destroy his throat. Consecutively using dragon breath 16 times changed the appearance of the whole Dark Inkstone. There were sword marks everywhere on it. It looked somewhat scary. After resting for some time, Fang Yuan felt he had recovered to some degree. He breathed out again. Sure enough, he used the 17th dragon breath. Fang Yuan engraved this duration in his mind. He was continuously estimating. With just my own strength, I can use dragon breath 16 times in a row. After resting for about 5 minutes, I will recover and can continue to breathe it out. But it is just barely possible, and after breathing out the 17th dragon breath, I will once again fall into the previous plight and will still need to rest for 5 minutes of time. If I add some dragon breath mortal GU in this, I should be able to increase the amount of times I can use dragon breath. Fang Yuan had not yet combined dragon breath GU in this sword dragon transformation immortal killer move. Dragon breath GU was quite difficult to refine. This was because the material to refine this GU worm was the breath of dragons. This dragon Fang Yuan obtained was dead. He had waited for a long time in Treasure Yellow Heaven before he found someone selling it, and he had to pay a considerable price to buy it. Only a living dragon could send its breath out, which could then be used as material to refine dragon breath GU. Naturally, if the GU recipe was modified and other materials were used to substitute for dragon breath, it could be done. But Fang Yuan clearly did not have such ability. Besides a living sword dragon, other living dragons also could be used to refine dragon breath GU. However, such a dragon breath GU might be the same in name, but would have some slight differences. Although it could be used, some other mortal GU had to be added in to remove the differences. Transformation Path was somewhat particular about this aspect. Thus, Fang Yuan had specifically refined all the required GU like Dragon Scale GU, Dragon Claw GU and so on from the Sword Dragon's corpse. By using these GU worms, he could much more quickly and conveniently activate the immortal killer move, Sword Dragon Transformation. The testing of the killer move was finished, the results were in line with Fang Yuan's expectations. He had pondered deeply about choosing Sword Dragon Transformation, and he had deduced these results in detail prior to this. With just a rank 6 immortal GU as the core, Sword Dragon Transformation has a certain level of battle strength, but it is still not enough against rank 7 GU immortals. Normally speaking, rank 7 GU immortals had defensive methods that were stronger than Dark Inkstone. Fang Yuan used the strongest weapon of his Sword Dragon Transformation, Dragon Breath, but was only able to deform this Dark Inkstone. This Sword Dragon Transformation was not sufficient for display in the Blood Battle Martial competition. Fang Yuan was well aware of this. He naturally had follow-up methods. Canceling his transformation, he flew out of his cloud city and soon arrived in front of Langya Land Spirit. Fang Yuan directly expressed his intent. Greetings to First Supreme Elder, I am here to exchange for sect contribution points. Langya Land Spirit's eyes flashed with joy. He knew Fang Yuan had obtained Heifan Grotto Heaven, had the status of an inheritor of Thieving Heaven, wrecked 88 Truyong building and definitely had many good things in his hands. And for Langya sect to develop, it naturally needed better and more precious cultivation resources. However, Langya Land Spirit could not force other GU immortals to hand over their resources, this would conflict with their interests, and Langya sect would then fall apart. It is good you have such thoughts. Langya Land Spirit was greatly interested. What do you want to contribute to the sect this time? First, take a look at this. Fang Yuan brought out an item. A GU immortal's soul. Langya Land Spirit frowned. Souls of GU immortals could be treated as a type of immortal material, and had more value if they were of a soul path GU immortal. There was even more value in the cultivation memories in the GU immortal's soul. GU immortal souls were naturally not common. Many GU immortals had methods to detonate their soul. Shadow sect were most adept in this. Back then, when Feng Juzhe had battled Qin Bai Sheng before he recovered his memories, he had sensed the latter had a powerful soul detonation method, and thus let go of Qin Bai Sheng, not willing to fight to such a desperate extent. When GU immortals battle, it would not be easy for them to hold back. Just like when Yen Pingji killed Granny Yin, he directly destroyed her soul. Langya Land Spirit accepted this GU immortal soul, but he found this soul was already tampered with by Fang Yuan and could no longer be soul searched, only being used as immortal material. Like this GU immortal soul can only exchange for 100 contribution points. Langya Land Spirit said with slight disappointment. Fang Yuan, however, smiled. No, I think the price can be slightly higher. We can place this GU immortal soul in Danghun Mountain and turn it into Guts GU. GU immortal souls are extraordinary, they are supreme goods, this will definitely turn into a large sum of Guts GU. Recently, we have not been able to increase the production of Guts GU. With this GU immortal soul, we can definitely satisfy the Rockman tribe's requests. Langya Land Spirit came to a realization and nodded. It is indeed true. He estimated the price again and said, "This rank 6 GU Immortal Soul can be considered as 210 sect contribution points then." Chapter 1199, Huge Sale. Fang Yuan nodded in agreement. This price was fair. The value of the GU Immortal Soul had increased because of Guts GU. Since the Four Races Alliance was set, the Rockman tribe below the northern icy plain requested for a large amount of Guts GU as they had an extremely urgent need for them. However, Guts GU had always been sold at a fixed price in Treasure Yellow Heaven. This price could not be reduced. After all, they had to consider the long term. Currently, although the Rockman tribe's relation with Langya sect was close, most of the Guts GU were still sold at Treasure Yellow Heaven. Because of the monopoly on Guts GU, they could not only exchange Guts GU for immortal essence stones, but also exchange for many immortal materials and other resources. In the resource-scarce northern icy plain, the payment the Rockman tribe could provide was not able to satisfy Langya sect's development requirements. For the benefit of the whole sect, Langya land spirit would not make the Rockman tribe the main trade partner. The Rockman tribe was dissatisfied but had no choice regarding this. In short, the production of Guts GU was far from enough to meet the demand in the market. Especially in regards to southern border, because of the righteous path GU immortals exploring the giant dream realm repeatedly, they had excessive demands for the Guts GU in Treasure Yellow Heaven. This even created a black market for Guts GU. Some Guts GU were resold at a much higher price. Langya sect had repeatedly raised the price of Guts GU, but the item was still extremely popular. The whole market was like an insatiable monster, and even though Langya sect was already putting full effort in producing Guts GU, it simply was unable to satisfy the terrifying appetite of this monster. Among Fang Yuan's revenue sources, the profits from the Guts GU trade had already soared far ahead, entering its own level. Guts GU was the greatest contributor to Fang Yuan being able to repeatedly use rank 7 Immortal GU in battle and easily replenishing his reserves of green grape immortal essence at set intervals. Langya land spirit received this GU immortal soul and spoke, "Man is the spirit of all living beings. With this GU immortal soul, we can indeed increase the production of Guts GU to a huge degree next time. Unfortunately, GU immortal souls can only be found by fortunate circumstances and not sought out. In the future, the primary investment for this aspect is still in Taichu. Fang Yuan, if you are free, make a few trips to Taichu. Desolate beast and desolate plant souls might be far inferior to GU immortal souls, but we can offset it with quantity and the source is also stable. With you taking action, we should be able to develop even more quickly in Taichu." Langya land spirit thought highly of Fang Yuan's ability. However, Fang Yuan replied, "I will be going to take part in blood battle martial competition soon. I am afraid I won't have time to split my attention. This is a second GU immortal soul. I hope First Supreme Elder can verify its quality." Second, Langya land spirit raised his eyebrows, but was not surprised. He knew some details about Fang Yuan, and was not surprised at Fang Yuan selling some GU immortal souls. This is a Featherman GU immortal soul. When Langya land spirit inspected it, he was slightly surprised. Variant humans were suppressed. Variant human GU immortals were extremely rare. He had not expected Fang Yuan to have a Featherman GU immortal soul. "This is your kill?" Langya land spirit casually asked. Fang Yuan smiled. "Right. This GU immortal soul was of a Featherman, Zheng Ling. The previous soul was Shui Songzi's." Langya sect was a hairy man sect. Regarding an unknown Featherman GU immortal soul, Langya land spirit decided to take it and did not have the intention to investigate further. Thus, Fang Yuan gained several hundred contribution points. Immediately afterwards, he brought out a third GU immortal soul. Langya land spirit smiled. "It seems you intend to sell a lot today. Alright, just take out all the GU immortal souls you want to sell." Alright, Fang Yuan started taking out GU immortal souls one after the other. He truly had many GU immortal souls. There were souls of Dongfang Chongfan, Shui Songzi, Zheng Ling and others from before. Later, in Heifan Grotto Heaven, he killed a group. Then finally, he received even more souls in the Turbulent Flow Sea area. When Fang Yuan took out 3 GU immortal souls in a row, Langya land spirit smiled. When Fang Yuan took out 6, Langya land spirit was surprised. He subconsciously stood a little from his seat, as if he wanted to come closer to check. When Fang Yuan took out the 10th GU immortal soul, Langya land spirit's expression changed. He started pointing at Fang Yuan. "How did you kill so many people?" Fang Yuan smiled. "It was just luck." He then continued to take out GU immortal souls. Finally, when Langya land spirit saw Gu immortal souls all around in the surroundings, he was extremely shocked. I finally understand why you are not able to blend in with humans and sided with us variant humans. Langya land spirit was left speechless. You only have rank 6 cultivation. Langya land spirit knew details about Fang Yuan, because familiar face was given to Fang Yuan by him. How long has it been since you became an immortal? You also still had to travel around here and there to revive yourself. Killing so many people, you are simply like spectral soul demon Venerable when he was young. Fang Yuan gave a forced smile when he heard the name spectral soul. I am contributing all these souls to the sect. Besides this, I also have many cultivation insights, GU recipes of all paths, immortal GU recipes, killer moves and immortal killer moves. Even battlefield killer moves as well as up-to-date maps of each region, which will make it more convenient for my fellow sect members to move in the outside world. Fang Yuan was undergoing a huge sale. Langya Blessed Land's history was extremely long, it had incomparably rich treasures which were even coveted by Heavenly Court and always in the minds of Shadow Sect. But Fang Yuan had killed so many people, and the things he obtained from soul searching were also extremely abundant. Most of the treasures in Langya Blessed Land were payment received in the past by Long Hair Ancestor by refining GU for others. While some were items purchased by Langya Land Spirit through Treasure Yellow Heaven. Among these treasures, the former were stored ages ago. Long Hair Ancestor was a person from 300,000 years ago, a figure of the medieval antiquity era. And the latter could be sold at Treasure Yellow Heaven. One could imagine that the top quality goods among them were sparse, although they would also have rare items. As for these things Fang Yuan contributed, most of them were the entire foundation of the GU Immortals. These things were as precious as life to them. Not to mention that they were new creations that would also not be sold for no reason in Treasure Yellow Heaven. In this regard, Langya Land Spirit did not reject any offers. He was different from the previous Langya Land Spirit. The previous Langya Land Spirit was only interested in refining GU, while he was brimming with ambitions, creating Langya sect and wholeheartedly trying to make hairy men the rulers of the world, restoring their glory from the immemorial antiquity era and remote antiquity era. Currently, Langya sect primarily used refinement path. Most of the hairy man GU immortals cultivated transformation path as well. Langya sect wanted to become a large sect, completing Langya Land Spirit's ambition. For this they needed to incorporate various kinds of things and possess GU immortals of all paths. Like the great Huang Jin tribe super forces of northern plains, the 10 great ancient sects of central continent and so on. Fang Yuan's sect contribution points rose steeply. In another cloud city, 12th Hair was in the midst of refining GU. Oh no, there is an error. Suddenly, his expression changed as the fire he was controlling suddenly weakened. He quickly activated GU worms, spurting out blood into the fire. Whoosh! The fire burned high once again. 12th Hair was pale, his body shivering uncontrollably. He had just been injured by the backlash caused by failing in GU refinement. Blood was slowly seeping out of his 7 orifices, causing the hair on his whole body to moisten with blood. His wide-opened eyes were filled with traces of blood, as they firmly focused on the fire. After a while, the burning fire suddenly erupted and disappeared. The refinement path GU formation opened up, revealing over 100 self-will GU. The hairy man GU immortals raised by the previous Langya Land Spirit had extremely weak battle strength, but had strong GU refinement ability. These self-will GU were only mortal GU but they were rank 5. 12th Hair could refine over 100 of these rank 5 self-will GU at once, revealing his extraordinary refinement path attainment. 12th Hair thought to himself that it was a close shave. He rejoiced. Fortunately, I sacrificed myself to make up for the mistake. Otherwise, these self-will GU would be destroyed. Not only would it waste the effort I spent over these last few days to refine these GU, I would also have to compensate for it with 3 times the refinement materials. To increase the production of self-will GU, Fang Yuan not only used his sect contribution points to attract other hairy man GU immortals to refine them for him, he also supplied them immortal materials out of his own pockets, letting these hairy man GU immortals use these immortal materials to refine mortal GU. The hairy man GU immortals no longer had disdain and disgust towards Fang Yuan like before. Fang Yuan possessed rank 8 battle strength, causing these hairy man GU immortals to be filled with respect. Moreover, after such a strong financial ability was revealed, these hairy man GU immortals accepted the difference between them and Fang Yuan even more. Strong dizziness assaulted 12th Hair's mind. Refining self-will GU 11 times without pausing is truly too consuming on the body and mind. The mistake just now is a warning that I need to rest. I need to quickly recover and accept some of these self-will GU refinement assignments later to earn more Immortal Essence Stones. 12th Hair had a bitter expression when he thought of Immortal Essence Stones, heaving a deep sigh. Desolate beasts are not easy to raise. These desolate beasts all have great appetites, there is a huge burden on me every month to feed and raise them. More importantly, beast enslavement Immortal GU is only lent to me, every time I borrow it, I will have to pay with sect contribution points according to the period of time. Considering the long term, I definitely need to buy this beast enslavement Immortal GU. But rank 6 beast enslavement Immortal GU needs up to 10,000 sect contribution points. 12th Hair took out an information path GU worm. This GU worm had one use, to display the sect contribution points of all GU immortals in Langya sect and rank them accordingly. Simply put, it was Langya sect's contribution list. 12th Hair looked into it with his consciousness and easily found his name in the upper half of the list. Then he saw a series of numbers beside his name. Over 600 sect contribution points, but I am still way too far from my target. 12th Hair gave a bitter smile, feeling he had a long way to go. But the other hairy man GU immortals are also similar to me, some are even worse than me. My advantage lies in that I cultivate enslavement path as well, and now already have several desolate beasts with me. I can obtain sect contribution points more easily than others. Chapter 1200. Dragon Breath Immortal GU. That's right, this is my advantage, I need to prioritize my strengths from now on and make full use of my talents in battle. I can use this to break the deadlock and drive up my cultivation speed. According to this development, my strength will continue to grow and the sect will need me more often. When I have strength like Elder Fang Yuan, the sect contribution points will be solely mine to take. Cheer up, these days will keep on improving. 12th Hair, you need to continue working hard and reach your peak in life. 12th Hair's mood changed, and his fighting spirit gradually returned. As he thought of Fang Yuan, he subconsciously glanced at the first name of Langya sect's contribution list. Last time, because of the Four Races Alliance, Fang Yuan had obtained 1,000 sect contribution points which had caused the hairy man GU immortals' mouths to water in envy. But recently, because Fang Yuan had issued large numbers of GU refinement tasks, his sect contribution points had been continuing to dwindle, and quickly at that. Fang Yuan's name still occupied first on the list, but the gap with the second-ranked hairy man GU immortal was getting smaller and smaller. A lot of hairy man GU immortals were waiting for the time when Fang Yuan's name was surpassed. Fang Yuan was a human GU immortal possessing rank 8 battle strength, surpassing him at the contribution list would give a different sensation to the hairy man GU immortals. It would be an enormous glory. However, the next moment, 12th Hair's whole body suddenly stiffened. He remained still like a stone statue. Because he saw the number behind Fang Yuan's name. Over 15,000 sect contribution points, how could it be? 12th Hair almost felt like he was hallucinating. Ever since Langya sect was established, there had been no one who had obtained so many sect contribution points. At most, at one time, Fang Yuan's sect contribution points had reached above 2,000 before it started rapidly falling. Now, Fang Yuan's sect contribution points had passed 15,000. Unbelievable, this was an unprecedented record. 12th Hair's heart shook wildly, but the following scene made him even more shocked. Fang Yuan's sect contribution points were continuously rising. 15,000, 18,000, 20,000, 30,000, 50,000, 60,000. The number kept on rising steeply. It surpassed 80,000. 12th Hair was stupefied at the sight. What made him even more astonished was that Fang Yuan's sect contribution points still showed no signs of stopping. When it reached over 90,000, suddenly, Fang Yuan's total sect contribution points decreased by over 70,000. Only over 10,000 was left now. What is happening? Could it be, I actually refined GU so much that I am starting to hallucinate? This is a dream. Ah, no, 12th Hair suddenly shook and snapped back to awareness. Over 70,000 sect contribution points suddenly disappeared. Fang Yuan definitely exchanged for an immortal GU. No, he did not exchange for my beast enslavement immortal GU, right? 12th Hair quickly took out another information path GU worm and placed his consciousness in it. After inspecting, he let out a heavy breath of relief. So he did not exchange for beast enslavement immortal GU, but a rank 7 immortal GU. It is good as long as it is not beast enslavement immortal GU. That was seriously a huge scare. 12th Hair patted his chest, his whole body easing up. But the moment he relaxed, his eyes rolled backwards as he fainted on the spot. He had suffered injuries during the GU refinement process, and his mood had swung up and down at this moment. He naturally would fall unconscious after relaxing. Achieving his target, Fang Yuan returned to his cloud city. Inside a secret room, he took out a completely new immortal GU. This GU resembled light purple-colored fog in the form of a dragon. It did not have a fixed shape and was floating around. Rank 7 Immortal GU, Dragon Breath. Fang Yuan had finally chosen Sword Dragon transformation because Langya sect's treasury had this immortal GU. To exchange for this immortal GU, Fang Yuan had to sell all his GU immortal souls along with large amounts of cultivation information he had obtained from soul searching. Naturally, Fang Yuan had withheld some of the contents. Like Dong Fang Chong Fan's wisdom path methods, He Fan true inheritance's important details, and so on. This had sharply raised Fang Yuan's sect contribution points to above 90,000. In the near future, this amount would be Fang Yuan's peak, difficult to surpass. Then, Fang Yuan used over 70,000 sect contribution points to exchange for the rank 7 transformation path immortal GU, Dragon Breath. In just a short while, his sect contribution points had fallen to over 10,000. But he still occupied first place on the contribution list. The second rank GU immortal on the contribution list only had 4 digits in terms of contribution points. The gap had been widened by a huge margin. Fang Yuan's position was firmly in place like a mountain. Naturally, Fang Yuan did not care about the sect contribution list. He also did not know 12th Heir had received a great impact from this event and had fallen unconscious. If he knew, Fang Yuan would think he was overthinking it. Not all immortal GU in Langya Blessed Land could be exchanged. Beast Enslavement Immortal GU was on the exchange list, but Langya Land Spirit had clearly left it behind for 12th Heir. Even if Fang Yuan wanted to exchange for it, he would not be able to. Besides this, rank 7 Immortal GU Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus was also not for sale. This Immortal GU was originally Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable's Immortal GU, later it was refined by Long Hair Ancestor up to rank 8 and was merged into the rank 8 Immortal GU House Refinement Cauldron. Some time ago, Shadow Sect had invaded Langya Blessed Land, destroying Refinement Cauldron and seizing many of the core Immortal GU. Although Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus remained, it had been damaged and had fallen from rank 8 to rank 7. If Fang Yuan wanted to exchange for this Immortal GU, he would have to pay a very large price that could move Langya Land Spirit's mind. However, Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus would not be of much help to Fang Yuan. He had calculated that after he raised his cultivation to rank 7 and his Immortal Essence started producing Red Date Immortal Essence, it would be sufficient. It was not worth it to pay a greater price for just Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus. Fang Yuan spent some time before he successfully integrated this rank 7 Dragon Breath GU into his Immortal Killer move, Sword Dragon Transformation. Transformation Path Immortal Killer moves were essentially very simple. Dragon Breath GU was a natural component of Sword Dragon Transformation. What's more, Fang Yuan was a Transformation Path Grandmaster. With this rank 7 Dragon Breath Immortal GU, Fang Yuan simply did not need any Dragon Breath Mortal GU. Like in He Fan's True Inheritance, He Fan had really wanted to obtain Immortal Level Day GU and Month GU. Because then, when he activated Days Pass like Years and similar Immortal Killer moves, he would not need to spend so many Mortal Day GU and Month GU. Having a relevant Immortal GU made it extremely convenient. It also reduced the difficulty of controlling the killer move. Its effect would also have a large boost. Taking a deep breath, Fang Yuan tried Sword Dragon Transformation again. Silver light burst out, shining towards the sky. Just looking at this, Fang Yuan knew that Sword Dragon transformations might have increased by multiple times. From within the silvery light, a sword dragon revealed its figure. Its body was more than double the size of before, reaching over 40 feet. Its eyes were still white, its scales were much wider and thicker than before. There were now 2 more claws, reaching a total of 4 claws now. The dragon horn protruded out further, piercing towards the sky. Fang Yuan inspected all over and saw that every aspect had received a huge boost in quality. After adding the rank 7 Dragon Breath GU, this is now an ancient desolate beast level sword dragon. Fang Yuan was well aware. As such, this immortal killer move could be used at the Blood Battle Martial competition. The previous sword dragon transformation would not work. It could only be used to bully some ordinary rank 6 GU immortals. The current ancient sword dragon had the qualifications to match against rank 7 GU immortals. Next was the most important part. Fang Yuan was unavoidably a little nervous. He lightly stretched out his dragon body and flew to a completely new dark inkstone. Dragon breath. Fang Yuan opened his mouth and breathed out. In that instant, a pure white sword light flashed past. Crack, a crisp sound was heard, as the dark inkstone was cut in two. Not only this, the sword light still had strength remaining to destroy the whole secret room. Fang Yuan's cloud city shook intensely, giving off muffled noises as large numbers of GU worms that formed the secret room died instantly. I have already controlled my strength, the dark inkstone already bore most of the dragon breath, only a small part of its power was leaked out. Intense joy flashed past the ancient sword dragon's eyes. Fang Yuan had only displayed a small portion of his strength, but his surrounding environment actually was unable to endure it. Although the Cloud City's structure was exquisite and hairy man-GU immortals had spent immense mental effort to make it, it was after all only a mortal GU house, and could not endure the remaining power of the ancient sword dragon's breath. Green grape immortal essence continued to be consumed to maintain the form of the ancient sword dragon. Clearly, the immortal essence expenditure had increased by many times. Where there are gains, there are losses. After all, adding rank 7 immortal GU dragon breath had increased the level of the immortal killer move. Sword dragon transformation, immortal essence being expended rapidly was an inevitable outcome. I can no longer practice in the Cloud City. Langya Blessed Land has many observers, but if I go out of Langya Blessed Land I will receive even more attention from Heaven's will. It seems I still need to place my sovereign immortal aperture and properly test the limits of ancient sword dragon transformation. The dragon breath I send out has already reached rank 7 battle strength, its effect is outstanding and the expenditure is still small. How powerful will it be when I use sword marks targeting death, dark assassination and triple-layered sword wave in my ancient sword dragon form? Fang Yuan was feeling anticipation. He resolutely took action, immediately flying out of the Cloud City, going through the Super GU formation and teleporting to the outside world. Fang Yuan has left. He actually exchanged for Dragon Breath Immortal GU, what is the reason? Sixth Hair was secretly activating investigative methods, paying close attention until the Super GU formation activated and Fang Yuan's figure disappeared from his perception. After Sixth Hair knew the change in the sect contribution points list, he was filled with unease. Fang Yuan's development speed had surpassed his expectations again. Moreover, he did not understand the direction of Fang Yuan's growth. Fang Yuan naturally won't exchange for an immortal GU that has no use to him. No, I need to report this information to Lord Ying Wuxie quickly. Sixth Hair was filled with worries.